All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this afternoon's running of the Advent Health 400 at Kansas Speedway and the live commentary stream here on KRC, where we will have full flag-to-flag coverage of today's 267-lap, 400-mile race at the Kansas Speedway in what is already the ninth race of the NASCAR season in 2026. We're going to be a quarter of the way through the year after today is over, and we're going to have a good shakeup of who we're expecting to see compete for the regular season championship. Obviously, Tyler Reddick still got a stranglehold on the field with that 62-point lead over Ryan Blaney, and qualifying on the pole again for this afternoon's race, his third pole already of the 2026 NASCAR Cup Series season as he goes for race win number 5 in just the ninth race of the year. As we get further along into today's pre-race show, we're going to do some NASCAR trivia to kind of kick things off here first, and then we'll go over the fantasy team predictions for who I have to run well, not run well for today's race, so on and so forth. I do not have a quiz picked out on Sporkle.com yet that is NASCAR related. And yesterday during the practice and qualifying coverage, we did a a quiz in between practice and qualifying for all-time laps led at Kansas, and we got 64 of 66. I think we're going to do two short quizzes again today, just like we did for last Sunday's race at Bristol. And I like this one right here. How about NASCAR cookie cutter racetrack win? So that's basically mile-and-a-half tracks, which we race at here today. So it is kind of correlated with Kansas Speedway a bit. And this is anybody who has ever won on a mile-and-a-half track in the NASCAR Cup Series. And for some reason, Charlotte's not on here. So it's Chicagoland, Homestead, Kansas, Las Vegas, Texas, Kentucky. And it only goes to, you know what? Never mind. We're not going to do this quiz because it only goes to 2013. Let's skip that one. Let's do the Kansas winners one first. Anybody who has ever won at Kansas, and this is for Cup, O'Reilly, and Truck Series Racing. They've only been racing here since 2009. So, or sorry, not 2009, sorry, 2001. And this is last updated 2025. I think this is a good quiz to start off on. Let me get the chat going on my phone here real quick before I start the quiz so you can play along at home. Obviously, try not to Google any answers. It does give us the year in which that said driver wins. Obviously, we have to fill in the blanks. So let's get going. NASCAR Kansas race weekend. Bam Hall, Robert Goodrich, Frank Powers, Wade. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Marcus Villarreal as well. Welcome to the stream. All right, let's go Cup Series first, because I know I can get all the Cup Series drivers. We got 9 minutes. See what we've got. I don't like how slow the website is already. Jimmy Johnson, former winner here, 3 times. Matt Kenseth, former winner here in Cup. Greg Biffle, Tony Stewart, Jeff Gordon, Kevin Harvick, Joey Logano. Brad Keselowski has won here. We got Kurt and Kyle Busch have both won here before. Tyler Reddick has won here. Bubba Wallace has won here. Denny Hamlin has won here 4 times in Cup. Truex won both races in 2017. Chase Elliott won that 2018 race. He also won last fall. Kyle Larson has won here 3 times. And 2024 in the fall. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on that one. Christopher Bell. No, that was not him. O'Reilly. Sterling Marlin is not on here. Okay, never mind. I guess looking at the years, I could have probably guessed that. Casey Kane. It's one here in O'Reilly. Ryan Newman in 03. Won a Cup race. Mark Martin. That was 2005. Yeah, I don't know why I was thinking Bell. Oh, man, who won that race? Who won that race? Byron. No. Golly. That was a bad guess. It wasn't Bowman. Chad, I need help. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on the 2024 fall race. Sad I can get like every year except for just 2 years ago. And Joe Nemechek won the race in 04. We got John Hunter on here a couple times. Who won the... Elliott Sadler win here in O'Reilly? No. Cole Custer? No. About Ty Gibbs? Justin Allgaier I know is on here. I spelled his name wrong. No way, Justin Allgaier has not won. Brandon Jones on here 3 times. Chastain, that's right, it was Ross Chastain. It was a non-playoff driver. That's why I couldn't think of that. Honestly, I don't know if I would have gotten there in the 9 minutes I had allotted. Suarez has not won. Let's go William Byron. I already put him. Alex Bowman. See, O'Reilly and trucks is where it's going to get difficult for me. Like Sheldon Creed. Allmendinger. Hocevar? Carson Hocevar in trucks last year. That's right. Corey Heim. Corey Heim has won 2 truck races here. Hornaday. Todd Bodine. Mike Skinner. Johnny Benson. No. Jack Sprague? Sprague? No. Carl Edwards. Ben Rhodes? No. Crafton? Matt Crafton's on here a couple times. Christian Eckes. That's right. Ryan Preece ever win here at all? Sam Mayer? No. Gregson. Noah Gregson's on the list. James Busher. Stenhouse, was he the 2012? Okay. He was. Sauter. Yep, Johnny Sauter. Timothy Peters. No. Travis Quapple. Rick Crawford. Were some early drivers. Eric Darnell. Eric Darnell's on here. Gray won yesterday, but yesterday's race is not updated on here, so it's just 2025 and before. Otherwise, yes, he would be on. Bobby Hamilton? There's a lot of early 2000s Truck Series races on here still. Got a lot of the O'Reilly races. Last season in O'Reilly. Zilich? It's got to be Allgaier, and I'm spelling his name wrong. No, he didn't win here, though. Justin Allgaier. Hunter, thanks for tuning in. Enfinger? Yes, I believe he's won here. Yes, Grant Enfinger. Brett Moffitt ever win here? Okay, he did. 2020. They had 3 truck races at Kansas in 2020. that season was so weird. Burton. Jeff Burton's on here. Tried Labonte. That didn't work. Got less than 2 minutes. Almirola, why not try it? Eric Almirola, 2024 O'Reilly race. Okay. Got 2020 O'Reilly. 2022 truck race. Smith. Yeah, that's right. Zane Smith. What Gilliland? No. Dennis Setzer. That would have been a good poll, I feel. Ted Musgrave. Ah, oh, Chad Little? I don't know. Reaching for the stars here. Reaching for the stars. So we got Little. We got a minute left. 2003 O'Reilly is going to be so tough. Like Green? David Green. Oh my gosh. David and Jeff Green. Okay. So we need 2020 O'Reilly. We've got all the Cup. And then Truck Series, we got 01 through 03, 06, 11, 2020. 2020 seasons. I mean, that's just. Hill? Austin Hill. All right. That was 2020 trucks. Who are some other Cup guys that I haven't named yet that could be that 2020 O'Reilly? Briscoe? Chase Briscoe. Okay. So 2011. I mean, this is where it gets just ludicrous. We did good for ourselves. We got all the O'Reilly, all the Cup. I need a bunch of trucks. Early 2000s trucks. Names I could have maybe. Oh wow, Clint Boyer in 2011. I don't know if I would have thought Clint Boyer in the Truck Series would have won in 2011. He was full-time at RCR in the Cup Series, so he probably won that race with Kevin Harvick Incorporated, if I had to guess. So Clint Boyer won the truck race at Kansas in 2011. I don't think I would have ever guessed that, honestly, because I was just thinking of Truck Series lifers for a while there. We got Ricky Hendrick in 01. He won the first ever Kansas truck race. I knew he won a truck race. I didn't know he won the first ever one at Kansas. John Wood in 03. 2002 was Mike Bliss and Terry Cook in 06. So, yeah, those were all the Truck Series lifers pretty much. Minus Clint Boyer. That Boyer one shocks me a bit, honestly. 95%, average score 81%. We're going to do one more quiz since we're doing 2 short ones today. And for this next one, here's the mile and a half track winners. Okay. So mile and a half track winners. This is NASCAR Cup Series. Anybody who has ever won on a 1.5 mile track, and this counts Atlanta. I would assume Atlanta pre-drafting oval, if I had to guess. But if it isn't pre-drafting oval, I'll throw the new ones on there too. We got 12 minutes, 77 drivers, 77 different drivers have won a NASCAR Cup race on a mile and a half track. Charlotte's going to be tough because there's going to be some guys from the 60s winning the Coke 600 at the time, the World 600, that I'm probably not going to get all of them, but we'll do our best. And I'm going to throw Josh Berry on here before I forget. Okay, so Josh Berry's not on here because this list was not updated. Jimmy Johnson. We got Bobby Johns. I'll take that. I'll take Bobby Johns. Junior Johnson, Jimmy Johnson. I know Fireball Roberts won a 600. Joe Weatherly is on here. He's won at Charlotte twice. I'm really trying for the 60s here first. AJ Foyt at Atlanta. Wow. All right. Let's just try to get the more obvious ones now. Jeff Gordon. Ryan Newman's won a few. Greg Biffle. Casey Kane. Matt Kenseth. Truex has quite a few. Keselowski, Logano, Harvick, Stewart. Sterling Marlin's on here. Jamie McMurray is on here. Rusty Wallace. The Labonte brothers, Terry and Bobby. The Bush brothers, Kurt Kyle. Denny Hamlin. Ryan Blaney. Chase Elliott, Bill Elliott. Jeff Bodine. Harry Gant. Bobby Allison. Donnie Davey. Kelly Yarborough. Kyle and Richard Petty. Kenny Schrader on here? Kenny Schrader's on here twice. Joe Nemechek. Ricky Rudd. Elliott Sadler. Dale Jarrett. David Rudiman. No, he's not on. Oh, Darrell Waltrip. Yeah, Darrell Waltrip. David Pearson. Earnhardt Jr. Sr. Clint Boyer. Mark Martin. Carl Edwards. Burton. You got Jeff Burton on here. We have 52 of 77. Casey Mears, he won the 600 once. Jeremy Mayfield? No. Jerry Nadeau at Atlanta. Morgan Shepherd won at Atlanta a few times. Alex Bowman. William Byron. Kyle Larson. Who else is active that I don't have? Chastain. That would have been last year. Apparently 2025 is not on here. Let's see. Who else have I not named, chat? Anybody who has won on a 1.5 mile track in the NASCAR Cup Series. It's the problem with me jumping around like that. Dave Marcus. Benny Parsons. Cole Custer at Kentucky that one time. Eric Jones is not on the list. Atlanta and Charlotte's just been around for so long. Oh yeah, Austin Dillon. Tyler Reddick. How did I not put Tyler Reddick on here yet? That would have been bad. That would have been so bad if I skipped Tyler Reddick. Wallace. I got him. 63 of 77. Am I missing any more active drivers? Allmendinger, no. McDowell, no. I do have Truex. Chris Buescher. He has not won on a mile and a half. Closest he came was Kansas 2 springs ago. That photo finish with Larson. Vickers wasn't on here. Johnny Benson? No, that was Rockingham. That's not a mile and a half. If I miss any from my lifetime and or active drivers, that's going to be painful. Marvin Panch. He's won 3 times. I know he has a 600 win. Somebody who's won at Atlanta 3 times and twice at Charlotte. 4 times at Atlanta, 4 times at Charlotte. Oh my gosh. I got Roberts already. Who? I do have Blaney. Yes, I do have Blaney. That would have been painful if I did not have Ryan Blaney. He won at Atlanta 2021 and the 600 a couple years ago. Got 3 minutes. 3 minutes, chat. What are we looking for? Drivers who have won on a mile and a half track in the NASCAR Cup Series is our quiz for the week. There's going to be a painful one on here. I just know it. I do have Joe Nemechek already. I think a lot of the ones I'm missing are from the 60s. I'm just going to assume that. Herb Thomas. You know, I felt really good about that. He's got a lot of wins. Ernie Irvan. Wow, that would have been... Actually, that one probably would have been bad. Alan Kulwicki. Not on here. Got Chastain. Suarez on here because of Atlanta? No, okay, so it wasn't counting the new Atlanta. I was going to say, because I don't think I put him yet. So this is like traditional mile and a halves. I don't know. Got 60 seconds. I do have Benny Parsons. Flock? Nope. Rexford. Nelson Stacy. I have no idea how I got that. Oh, jeez. Kenny Schrader's on here already. I got him. I can't believe I got Nelson Stacy. Lenny Pond. Nope. And we're out of time. Leroy Yarbrough. Fred Lorenzen. That was the 4 Atlanta, 4 Charlotte wins. Oh, Buddy Baker. The amount of times I forget the Bakers on these quizzes is honestly ridiculous. Between last year starting the quizzes on the channel and then this year. Neil Bonnet's one that I kind of forget every once in a while, too. Jim Pascal, 2-time Charlotte winner. Rex White, another former champion. Atlanta. Speedy Thompson on here once. Dick Hutcherson. Charlie Glotzback won a race at Charlotte. Bob Burdick at Atlanta. Jim Hergebies in Atlanta won. So, who I was forgetting, not bad. 86%. I definitely could have done better. I definitely left some on the table. Yeah, Buddy Baker, Fred Lorenzen, Leroy Yarbrough I usually get, Neil Bonnet, and then maybe I could have circled the like a Rex White, Jim Pascal, Speedy Thomas. That would have been a little bit harder for me, I feel, but I don't think I would have gotten 100%, so I don't feel like I was robbed in any way because of that. 66 of 77, again, 86%, average score 75%. Time to highlight the Fantasy League. You can play along on the NASCAR.com website or the NASCAR mobile app. We'll take a look at our fantasy standings right here on the laptop in front of me. And I don't think nope, I'm not logged in right now. Okay, so hopefully it automatically signs. Okay, it does. I was hoping it was automatically going to sign me in. All right, I'm at 1,738 points total. If we look at the KRC League right now, I'm sitting in 9th place. First place, Track Squirrel with 1888 right now has a 23-point lead over Hercules Harrigan with 1865. Freaky Fast 4 in third with 1,800, 1789 for Monster Jam X10, last year's champion, and then Carm 60 at 1785 currently rounds out the top 5 in the league standings. So again, KRC League, KRC in all capital letters, space capital L on league. As I've been doing kind of lately on the channel, I'll put my fantasy team in as we run here and tell you who I think is going to run well, not run well. So I did kind of start to put my lineup in earlier so I can get a little bit of a jump on that because I knew we were going to be tight for time today. Tyler Reddick, I am jumping to the team. I've only played him twice this year. I think I could be higher in points if I would have played the guy who's leading in points more than just 2 times in the first 8 races. Putting him in today, he is on the pole. Toyotas looked bad fast yesterday in practice and qualifying all the way around. I think Toyotas are going to be the best of the manufacturer. Ty Gibbs is hot right now. I'm going to have him on the team again. I had him on Bristol last week. First time I really got him on the fantasy team in that hot streak, and it worked out. He got a W. Denny Hamlin, he is my pick to win today's race personally. Kyle Larson won here the last time, 1.5 tracks in the Cup Series. He is looking pretty good. Man, I think I rest Blaney, honestly. I know Blaney's second in points, and he's just so gosh darn consistent, but I'm using him up too much, and I know he's going to be better later in the year. Ty Gibbs is kind of a risk too, I feel. I'm going to plug Christopher Bell in to the starting roster. Gibbs will be in the garage. Do I go all Toyota and sub Blaney out for Chase Briscoe? Briscoe in that 19 team hasn't been as consistent, though. That's the problem. William Byron hasn't been as consistent lately, but he's got the best average finish of anybody on 1.5 tracks in the next gen era. And I think for that, do we just play the hot hand with Ryan Blaney? I hate burning up too many usages early in the year, but I do really like my team. Just because I like it to where it's at, I'm going to keep it. Ty Gibbs versus Bubba Wallace. I got Ty Gibbs. Taking Chase Elliott over Ross Chastain. That one team is really struggling this year, and they struggled again yesterday in qualifying. He'll be starting 31st. Larson versus Reddick is a tough one because the Toyotas were so fast yesterday in practice. Larson at Vegas didn't look like Larson on a typical mile and a half. He was good, not great. I think the best chance of somebody being great today between Reddick and Larson going for the win, I'm almost leaning Reddick, honestly. So we'll go Reddick. And then Byron Blaney. Blaney's just been more consistent. I think I got to go Blaney, which is the same reason I didn't put Byron in my lineup. I hate the fact that I've used Larson and Blaney so many times already, but I just feel like they're the safest option. I almost would argue that Blaney might even be better than Larson just based off of the consistency this year alone. But this is only the second mile and a half track, and usually the mile and a half tracks I would kind of slate the other way. So that's what we're looking at. All right. Thanks for everybody tuning into the stream so far. Other shout outs that I haven't given a shout out yet. Terry Lewis, happy early birthday to you as well, Terry. I remember you seeing that and remember you stating that in the chat yesterday during the O'Reilly race. And Billy Kramer, thanks for tuning in also. Connor Burke, welcome to the stream. Wayne Martin, thanks for playing along in the trivia that we had a little bit ago. Joe Rochester, thanks for tuning in. Bond1771, welcome back. And many others. All right, thanks everybody. So that's the fantasy outlook for today. Again, KRC in all capital letters, space, capital L on league. Those fantasy teams will lock at 2:10 Eastern, so about 7 minutes from now, everything will lock up on the fantasy side. And we'll go to the point standings now. We'll take a look at that entering today's race. So we'll go standings. NASCAR Cup Series point standings will look like this, and it is scrolling across the top of the screen throughout today's coverage as well. So during the race, you can kind of look up there and see what the points were looking like. Top 16 will make the chase on pure consistency in points alone. Right now, because of the wins being valued at such a high rate because of the amount of points you get for winning a race, Tyler Reddick is first in points with those 4 wins, 62 points ahead of Ryan Blaney. Blaney, one win for Hamlin and Ty Gibbs and Chase Elliott as well, rounding out the top 5. Only the top 5 drivers in the point standings overall have a win this year. So 62 points back for Blaney, 86 back for Denny Hamlin, Ty Gibbs 105 back, and Chase Elliott minus 122. Kyle Larson, 126 points out of first. He moved up 3 spots of points. Great race at Bristol last week. Finished third, won the first 2 stages. So he moved from 9th to 6th in points. He's the highest in the standings without a win. Byron, because of no stage points, finishing outside the top 30, drops from 5th to 7th in points, and he is now minus 141. Bubba Wallace up 3 spots. A good day at Bristol. He is now in 8th. Christopher Bell outside of the top 30 with his finish, and 9 stage points is all he had, so he loses 2 spots. And Chris Buescher stays right where he is in 10th. So top 10 looking the way it is right now. Brad Keselowski sits in 11th, and Joey Logano 12th. Carson Hocevar up 2 spots last week to 13th. Ryan Preece 14th. And then we got a couple Chevys of Daniel Suarez and Shane Van Gisbergen 15th and 16th. They are the last 2 drivers in on points. Chase Briscoe is up 4 spots last week after a great race at Bristol, though he is still 17th in points. His difference between he and SVG on the cut line, just 1 point. So 1 point difference between Van Gisbergen and Briscoe for that final chase spot. Austin Cindric's 18th in points, Michael McDowell 19th, and AJ Allmendinger rounds out the top 20. That is through 8 races, 26 races total in the regular season, and obviously a 10-race chase. So that's what we have to play for there. Oh, Earl, your birthday's on Thursday. Oh, it was Thursday. Well, happy belated birthday to you. Got an early birthday to Terry, belated birthday to Earl. All righty. So now I got to get the broadcast up and going. And as soon as I find that, looks like they're on commercial right now, so I guess that didn't matter. Local Fox affiliate is where you can watch today's race. Again, Big Fox. And the race this week at Kansas and next week at Talladega will be the last two races on your local Fox affiliate for the NASCAR Cup Series this season. There will still be a couple more races on Fox Sports 1. Only 4 weeks left of NASCAR on Fox, and then Prime Video takes over. That's not counting the All-Star race at Dover, which is also FS1. So 4 points-paying races remaining on Fox already this year. And it's crazy because it's still April that there's that few of races. But because of Prime Video and now TNT coming back, and obviously NBC finishing off the season still, things are more kind of split apart between the 4 networks instead of just 2. So instead of the full first half or the full second half, it's about first quarter of the season or so for Fox. All right. They are back for right now. And I'll let you listen in to some of the broadcast coverage before we get going today.
Well, buddy, that's the good thing. The predicament is your boss man is on your outside. How are you going to beat him down to turn one? Well, I think just a good clean restart. Obviously, Denny is just really, really strong here at Kansas. So, yeah, I'll probably be racing him all day. So, we'll get familiar early with each other here, that's for sure. Tyler, we see a little warmer weather today. We obviously know that this racetrack is tough on the tires. Pace is a little bit different today. What do you anticipate different today than what you guys practiced in? Yeah, it definitely seemed like it laid some good rubber down, some major tire rubber down in practice. So, I don't know, it's pretty more of the same. It's like crew have some lace rubber, so rubber will go down and look at the search more grip. All right, man, have fun out there. Good luck. Thank you, boys.
Reddick is the odds-on favorite to win today's race, starting from the pole for the 4th time this season. Unbelievable. Tyler Reddick on the pole. Denny Hamlin will be starting in row number 1 as well. He was the driver who actually led the most laps in the Kansas Fall race last season. In row number 2, Ty Gibbs, fresh off a win at Bristol, and 3-time Kansas winner Kyle Larson. Row number 3 will be Chase Briscoe and Carson Hocevar. Chris Buescher, a former runner-up at Kansas, and Daniel Suarez in row 4. Row 5, Ryan Blaney, Bubba Wallace. Wallace, the fall winner of 2022. In row number 6, Christopher Bell and Ryan Preece. Row 7, last year's fall winner Chase Elliott and former winner of the O'Reilly Series, at least at Kansas, William Byron. Joey Logano, a former Cup winner at Kansas, inside of row 8 alongside Ricky Stenhouse Jr. In row number 4, second season driver Shane Van Gisbergen and Michael McDowell. Eric Jones with Austin Dillon in row number 10. Multi-time Kansas winner Brad Keselowski alongside Riley Herbst in row number 11. Same for Kyle Busch in row 12 alongside rookie Corey Heim. In row 13, Zane Smith, Todd Gilliland for Front Row Motorsports. AJ Allmendinger, Noah Gragson in row number 14. Row 15, Cole Custer and Josh Berry. Former Kansas winner Ross Chastain in row 16 alongside John Hunter Nemechek. Alex Bowman starting 33rd, Austin Cindric 34th in row 17. Row 18, Cody Ware and rookie Connor Zilisch. Ty Dillon rounds out the 37-car field for today's race in row number 19. Our stage splits 80 laps in stage 1, 85 laps stage 2. Final stage will take us 102 to the finish. 400 miles, 267 laps around this mile-and-a-half racetrack. Should be a fun one. Warmer temperatures today than what we saw yesterday, about 10 to 12 degrees ambient temperature warmer than what we had for practice and qualifying in the afternoon on Saturday. Sun's out. It's going to be slick. It's going to be fast. And it's going to be fun. Kansas has produced some of the best races in the NASCAR Cup Series through the not only next-gen era, but even prior to that, one of the better mile-and-a-half tracks on the schedule. This has been one of the more fun races for me to call over the last couple seasons. Especially, it seems like the spring Kansas State has really put on some great races over recent years. Austin Sullivan, thanks for tuning in. Sharitha Cooper, welcome into the stream as well. See you guys. Picking Ty Gibbs to go back-to-back today. That's bold. That is a bold pick. I did have Ty Gibbs as a dark horse last weekend going into the race, and he ended up proving more so because he ended up winning the race. And my actual pick to win ended up finishing second. So this week, hopefully, one spot better, taking Denny Hamlin for the win. Obviously, you can vote for who you think is going to win the race in our chat poll. That will be open until the end of stage 2. We currently have 45 votes already before the drop of the green flag today. Only 2% taking Denny Hamlin for the win. Out of 45 votes. Wow, that is shocking. That is honestly shocking. Kyle Larson, 40% of the votes. 9% for Tyler Reddick, 49% for somebody other than Reddick, Larson, or Hamlin. I'm shocked that the poll is skewed that much. Not only for Hamlin, but even 9% for Reddick. I don't know. Maybe that's Toyota fatigue. They're tired of seeing 2311 and Tyler Reddick win a bunch of races. I don't know, but that is crazy. I mean, obviously, drivers that have been strong in recent weeks that would fall under the other category, like a Ty Gibbs who won last week and he's finished 6th or better in 6 straight races now. Ryan Blaney, who has probably been the best overall driver this season. Just fast everywhere we go from start to finish of a race. Tyler Reddick has had good finishes and or good starts, but kind of the middle portion of the race, you don't find him leading as many laps, minus at Coda. Chase Elliott, who's won a race this season already as well, and won at Kansas last year, could fall under the other. Christopher Bell, great driver who hasn't won a race yet this year, top 10 in points. So obviously there are some options under the other category. It just shocks me that it's that low. The 2% taking Denny Hamlin. Now it's 4% after I mentioned something. I think some people are like, all right. I mean, he's my pick to win. I'm just shocked he's only got 2% of the votes. 4% now, but still. Beth Hagerstan, thanks for tuning in. Raphael, thanks for tuning in as well. Emogene Blevins, Dean Tate, thanks for tuning in. Got just over 60 concurrent viewers watching. Thank you as well for each and every one of you that I haven't been able to shout out because I don't see in the chat for watching today's live commentary stream. Up to 33 likes. Our like goal is to get to 150 for the Cup Series live commentary stream. So again, 150 is our like goal. Almost a third of the way there already, and we haven't even gotten the race underway yet. But we are close to getting the drop of the green flag going.
My tool knows how many laps you've done at this racetrack to be successful. Very easy to find a balance in these restarts. So I think it was a challenge for him. I could be good on the one side or the other, but it's hard to be good all the way through the run. Well, and especially with this Gen 7 car, you have to be able to get yourself in a position where you don't lose a bunch of spots. And you want to be able to make that car turn, but not be too loose so that you can hold the throttle down and protect yourself from a track position standpoint. Now, 2 drivers had to sacrifice their qualifying positions and go to the rear. Noah Gregson's team changed the steering column after qualifying. Joey Logano's team changed the steering rack and pump, so they'll be starting from out back. The Toyota Camry XSE leads the field and heads for pit road.
All right, pace car in the pits, crowd on their feet, waving their hands, hats, flags, green flag in the air. We're underway. Tyler Reddick takes us down into the first turn alongside Denny Hamlin for this initial start of the Advent Health 400 at Kansas. A big moment for Ty Gibbs having to get super tight on the inside of row number 2. He got split 4 wide coming out of the first turn. Now a row of 4 wide just out of his rearview mirror as well. Gibbs goes from about 3rd back to at least 6th place. Carson Hocevar in the 77 trying to take the 5th spot from him. End of the opening lap, it is going to be Denny Hamlin leading lap 1 here at Kansas by about a half a car length or so over Reddick. They're still side by side, and they actually make contact on the entry into turn 1, and Reddick will take the lead as a result of which Kyle Larson gets tight. He slides way up the racetrack. Briscoe takes 3rd. Toyota's top 3 now, and Larson fades to 4th. It was more than close quarters racing with Denny Hamlin and Tyler Reddick. They literally made contact. It looked like one moved up as the other moved down, trying to side draft one another before entry of turn one. Lucky that neither one of them ended up in a crash. Getting into the corner. Good car control on both parties. Ty Gibbs trying to get his spot back on Carson Hocevar, failing to do so on the bottom lane through 1 and 2. And Hocevar carries huge momentum off the outside out of turn 2. Schott puts himself down to the bottom. Slide job on Larson, the master of the slide jobs. And Hocevar's into fourth. Highest running Chevy, highest running Ford in the early laps. Ryan Blaney now trying to tack to the inside of Ty Gibbs out of turn 4 down the front stretch. Blaney side drafts Gibbs through the center of the tri-oval. Takes to the inside of the track. Gibbs rounds out the outside much better than Blaney. Pinches him off, middle exit. Blaney out the sliding line behind him. Lead changes back and forth these first few laps. Hamlin led lap 1, then Reddick cleared on lap 2, and turns 1 and 2 led the second lap. At the end of lap number 4 now, it'll be Denny Hamlin back in the lead again. Reddick started on the pole, so we've actually had 3 lead changes. And Reddick is not done yet after Hamlin cleared him through 3 and 4. Back down into turns 1 and 2 with great momentum off the high side from the exit of turn 4. That long front stretch here at Kansas, it is the longest straightaway of any mile-and-a-half track in the NASCAR Cup Series. Get a great run off the high side out of turn 4 here, and it's better than anywhere else, not only because of the progressive banking, but the length of that front stretch alone. Reddick was not able to make the pass or stay alongside Hamlin through 1 and 2 the last time by, though. Hamlin gapped him by a couple of car lengths down the backstretch and gapped him a little bit more through 3 and 4 as well, as Denny holds on to the early race lead. Denny Hamlin has led for the most laps of any driver this Cup Series season, 444. Second most Kyle Larson with 421. After Hamlin led a ton of laps over half the race. In fact, at Martinsville out of 400. Larson out of 500 at Bristol led over half of that race as well. So really getting themselves ahead. Denny Hamlin would have to lead 56 laps today to get to 500 laps led in the first 9 races of 2026. Top 10 in the running order at the end of lap 8 holds Denny Hamlin in the lead, Tyler Reddick second, Chase Briscoe third, Carson Hocevar fourth, Kyle Larson fifth, and sixth is Ty Gibbs, Ryan Blaney seventh, Ryan Preece eighth, Bubba Wallace ninth, and William Byron in 10th. Difference between Hamlin and Reddick now 0.8 of a second, 1.4 seconds to Chase Briscoe, and a 2-second advantage over fourth place Carson Hocevar. A lot of Toyotas qualifying and practicing well yesterday, all starting at the front in today's race.
It's very detail oriented. The conversations and things that he can talk about with his teams and are at another level than most of the guys. And that's what it takes to keep your car up in the front of the pack. But they've made some good choices so far. But this racetrack is going to change a lot as we go through the day. This is the 7th straight race at Kansas that Denny Hamlin has led. Larry. Yeah, Mike, I've been looking at Denny Hamlin and Tyler Reddick, things they're doing with brake and throttle. Reddick drives the car deeper in the corner than Denny, but he has to use a lot more brake than Denny. Denny's able to pick the throttle up earlier. He still has to play with it a little bit, but he's picking the throttle up earlier. So Reddick deeper in the corner, Hamlin's picking it up a little earlier on the exit. And you get away with a lot of different styles here. As the pace changes, you'll see some guys really start to dump out of the throttle really quickly. Denny Hamlin always notorious for being really smooth with the throttle, kind of having a lot of partial throttle through the corner and not lifting off the throttle all the way. But definitely a couple of ways that you can make the car go fast around this racetrack. And from a driver's standpoint, you have so many options to be able to use those different styles or where to run on the racetrack. Reddick has the Xfinity fastest lap of the race. came on lap 2. Reddick has led 4 races this year. He's won all 4.
Well, he's definitely been on a roll right now, and I think as we start this race, and as the race keeps going through the day, and the lines start to move around, and it's not so straightforward on exactly what everybody's doing, as you start to struggle with your car at the end of these runs, that's where I really want to see what that 45 car has compared to this 11.
Well, as smooth as it is up front with Denny Hamlin, Reddick, look at the rat's nest back here. I've been watching Logano, Bowman, Barry right here battling. They are all over the place, swapping positions back and forth, trying to run the top, trying to run the bottom. It's a battle back there, isn't it, Kevin?
Yeah, and they're running 29th and 30th, and I think that when you talk about that, Joey Logano had to start last. Bowman qualified back there, and they're not making a lot of ground. I think as you look at +8 there for Logano from last, still going to be a long day. And if these guys go through this green flag cycle and have to make green flag pit stops, they're going to be in trouble before they know it.
Logano and his teammate Austin Cindric are the big gainers in these first 13 laps. Christopher Bell fell back 6 spots at the start of the race, trying to work his way back forward now. He is in 14th after starting 11th. It's -3.
Yeah, we saw him, and he's got a bunch of trash on the front of that grill, right at the bottom of the splitter, and that debris on the bottom of that grill not only make the car run hot, but it'll also affect the handling of how that air, depending on how it bunches up on the bottom of that splitter, how that air goes over the car, over the splitter right there, and change the handling. I actually had that happen to me one year leading the race. It got a tear off on the front of the splitter, and I couldn't even drive the car.
Back up here to 4th place, and we'll look a little further back to 15. Riley Ricky Stenhouse.
Well, more contact right there, Mike.
Same time, same situation with Hamlin and Reddick. They try to arc it, getting into the corner with the car on their outside down on their door. 15 laps complete. Now, Denny Hamlin started second here last fall, led 159 laps, won both stages, and finished second. He's leading right now.
Hamlin off and running early. We'll go through the full field running order right now. 1.3 second lead for Hamlin over Tyler Reddick. 3.7 seconds to Chase Briscoe in third. Carson Hocevar 4.8 seconds out of the race lead in fourth. And Kyle Larson in fifth. Ty Gibbs sixth. Seventh is still Ryan Blaney. Bubba Wallace up to eighth. Ryan Preece ninth. And Chris Buescher rounds out the top 10. William Byron in 11th, Chase Elliott 12th, Daniel Suarez 13th, Christopher Bell 14th, and Riley Herbst 15th. 16th is Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Corey Heim 17th, Brad Keselowski 18th, Michael McDowell 19th, and Austin Cindric 20th. Shane Van Gisbergen 21st, Austin Dillon 22nd, Todd Gillen 23rd, Kyle Busch 24th, and Eric Jones 25th. 26th, A.J. Allmendinger, Joey Logano up to 27th, Ross Chastain 28th, 29th for Alex Bowman, and Josh Berry 30th. Zane Smith 31st, Noah Gragson 32nd, John Hunter Nemechek 33rd, Ty Dillon 34th, Cole Custer 35th, Connor Zilch 36th, and Cody Ware rounds out the 37-car field, every car in the lead lap. 19 laps complete out of 80 in Stage 1 and 267 total in this afternoon's race. Two drivers started at the rear of the field at the start, Noah Gragson and Joey Logano, so that's why you see Logano deep in the field, currently 27th, and Gragson only up to 32nd. 15 positions gained for Austin Cindric, who started 34th, and he's already up to 19, so maybe look out for Austin Cindric. 7 positions gained each for both Corey Heim, the rookie, and for Riley Herbst. Herbst in 15th, Corey Heim in 17th. As far as the top 10 goes, nobody has really moved up or down in the leaderboard more than 3 positions. Suarez out of the top 10. He qualified 8th. He's down 6 spots now to 14th. And Eric Jones also losing 6 spots from 19th to 25th. So some of the biggest comers and goers in the early going. Side-by-side commercial break on Fox. We'll take a quick break. You're listening live KRC, full flag-to-flag coverage of today's Advent Health 400. Regine Huddleston, thanks for tuning in, by the way. I didn't shout you out yet. D-shaped oval, yes. Not a symmetrical oval by any means, but a D-shaped oval.
Presented by Toyota.
Swapping spots. We saw Larsenberg go by the 5-car of Kyle Larson, and now it's switched.
Windy day here in Kansas. When isn't it? Winds kind of different directions depending on where you are. Here's the 19th radio. Look across the interstate, Kevin. That flag's going a different direction.
Yeah, we kind of saw that yesterday in practice. One of the most sensitive racetracks that we go to from a wind standpoint, and you know, the drivers want to know exactly what direction that is blowing, because when it's blowing against the right side of the car, it actually helps the car handle. But when it gets a tailwind down the back straightaway, it'll make it loose getting in the corner and have the opposite effect, make the front end, make the car not want to turn back down the hill in turns 3 and 4. Regan?
Well, Kevin, no word on the win right now from the number 2 car of Austin Cindric. Started 32nd, but already up 13 positions to the 19th spot. I spoke to him this morning, and he was scratching his head about qualifying a little bit. Didn't understand why they struggled so much, but he said the race trip, he did like where it was at. And so far, that's been the case in the race. The only word from the driver is just a little bit too tight a couple laps ago. And he's moved up into the top 20 now. It's getting a little harder to pass.
Kevin, yesterday in practice when we were watching, it was about lap 28 to 30 where things started to flip a switch with the handle.
These race cars are starting to approach that here 25 laps in.
Yeah, and that's, you know, that's when one of those tires start to get down close to the cords. Something like a downshift right there.
Definitely. Brad Keselowski carrying the Trimble onboard cam. If you're not familiar with Trimble, they supply engineering data to aerospace, transportation, and building contractors. For example, we got to build this bridge. How much concrete do we need? They know. Trimble will tell you.
Mike's always pulling something out of his pocket like that.
Well, that time he literally pulled it out of his pocket. I was like, what's he doing? Had to know. Well, Mike Massaro called this morning. He works for Brad. He says, hey, here, you need a little info. Well, help me out. There you go.
Yeah, you see Ricky Stenhouse right behind him right there. Running 18th, so not a bad start to the race for those guys. Actually qualified pretty well and were able to kind of hold that running position to start with. But Brad went by on his way to the front. Jamie?
Told me before the start of the race that this is the best package they have had here in Kansas. Probably looking at another spot there, racing with hips. Right now, this video is tight and just radioed in. My right front is gone. And guys, we're about 8 laps away before that window opens the green flag spot.
And that's exactly what we were talking about. Either the right front goes or the right rear goes. I'd rather have the right front go first when that tire finally shuts off, and you just have to slow down to go to whatever the maximum speed of the car is to just try to make that thing survive until you can get to pit road.
Well, that's 4 of the top 5. All have the same emblem on the hood. Well, here's his Osamar's teammate Suarez gaining one back.
My bad on that one. I was having some audio issues, so I was trying to log out of Hulu and then log back in for a quick sec. There we go.
And 10 block here for him. And it looks good on him. He's in a good team, a good job.
Yeah, and it has been a definite step in the right direction for Daniel and his performance. So you just never know how the driver crew chief team pairings are going to work. And when you see one that works out like it did for Daniel Suarez and Ryan Preece and some of the other changes that we've seen over the last couple of years, some of those work and some of them don't.
There is a weak link, though, and it's during the race. We have the speed with the race cars with Spire. We're unloading off the truck, qualifying well each and every week with him and Hocevar. We need to hone in and get a little bit better balance for our race. All right, we're 30 laps in. And we got drivers talking about tires, Larry. Yeah, Mike, remember my Toyota keys to the race? I talked about splitting the 3 stages in half. This stage is 80. That would mean lap 40. But we anticipate we'll start seeing some of them come probably about 4 to 5 laps from now. But I'll say this, Denny Hamlin especially, Chris Gale, his crew chief, they're notorious for splitting it right down the middle, 40 laps and 40 laps. And with the lead they've got, especially over third, I think they've got a little cushion to maybe do that.
We're starting to get into lap traffic here, Kevin. That's when the opportunity starts a knocking.
Yeah, and that's when you find out whose cars are actually handling good up front, when these leaders start to get into lap traffic. And you got to have a versatile race car here. You got to be able to run the middle of the racetrack, to do those slide jobs, run the top, run the bottom. And a lot of times, if your car is just a little bit too tight or a little bit too loose, traffic will really emphasize what those characteristics are as you get towards the back of the field.
Now, Zane Smith just went a lap down. He started 23rd today. Cole Custer started 27th. Ty Dillon, now the last car on the lead lap, in 32nd. He started 35th. And I believe that's Ryan Preece, the first car on pit road. He was in the top 10. And pit stops begin.
Well, this is pretty early. As you look at lap 32 right here of 80, that's going to put you in a position to go a long ways, but they don't want to get lapped. They want to try to do everything that they can in case this thing runs green all the way.
Both the legacy cars are in, Eric Jones and John Hunter Nemechek, who went a lap down.
William Byron, Cindric. She's open, boys.
Yeah, and once those guys start pitting and you realize that the lap times have slowed down almost 2 seconds, you put a lot of pressure on the rest of the field to say, okay, I pitted early. I'm going to make up a second and a half, 2 seconds a lap for a handful of laps right here. You want to give up that time.
Both the Childress cars are in, Austin Dillon and Kyle Busch.
And you see the top of our screen right there. Denny Hamlin just continues to put him a lap down. He just lapped Ty Dillon in 26th position. So you're going to have your stuff together on this pit stop to make some adjustments on your car if you're not one of those cars that got a lap down, but towards the tail end of this lead lap, or you're going to wind up being in trouble at the end of the first stage.
Chris Buescher has made his stop. He was the fastest Ford in qualifying. Josh Berry comes to pit road. Zane Smith, who went a lap down just a bit ago. Connor Zilic is in, and Ty Gibbs. All Ty Gibbs stops.
Probably the one, in my opinion, that'll draw these leaders down. Little scuff on the outside of Gibbs. Huh?
Ty Gibbs has been in the wall right there. You see that right rear tire all scuffed up, fenders.
Right front as well.
Yeah.
Keselowski, Van Gisbergen in the pit lane. Stenhouse is in. And here's Alex Bowman and Kyle Larson.
Trouble right there on the 6 car on that left rear. I will tell you, though, and we talked about this before the race, if you do have trouble on a pit stop, it's actually better to do that under a green flag when the cars aren't all bunched up and you'll lose less positions.
So half the field has come to pit road. Daniel Suarez is in.
Larson's going to run another one. Or, excuse me, Hamlin.
And for Denny Hamlin right now, when he's in a position where he had a big lead, he was able to stay on the racetrack and not have to pit before everybody else. So they're all going to pit. The next thing you know, he's going to have fresher tires again for the second half of this run.
Noah Gragson and Tyler Reddick, who started on the pole, come to pit lane. Jamie?
Tyler Reddick gets the countdown into the number 1 pit box. He feels really good about how the car is operating. A little bit feedback away from need a little air pressure adjustment and sport tires for the 45. As you see, Denny Hamlin, I believe, on pit road.
Later, along with Ross Chastain, Ty Dillon, Chase Briscoe, and Bubba Wallace. This should bring just about everybody to pit road. Jamie?
Denny Hamlin talked about his car. Just a little bit tight on throttle and a little bit loose in. Having to prefer that on. It's shocking right there, thinking ahead for him. With 35 laps, here's from the lead, down and away.
Ryan Blaney with a new Jackman gets hit. Actually, he hits Allmendinger as
Wow. Look out.
And Allmendinger's and he can't get right there because he's on the line between 2 boxes.
So the way it's cycled, Denny Hamlin, he's going to still be your leader, but Larson got Reddick in the exchange.
And you see Hocevar just coming to pit road, so they actually ran longer than just about anybody on the racetrack except for Joey Logano and Cole Custer.
So Hocevar was the leader when he came to pit road. As things cycle around, that will turn the lead over to Logano, who pits now. They're still servicing Allmendinger. He got the worst of it when Ryan Blaney was accelerating out of his pit at full speed as Allmendinger is coming in. That's in the driver's blind spot trying to get out of his pit. So whose responsibility is that?
Well, typically it's the car that is pulling out of the pits to be able to anticipate the car coming in. So usually the crew chief or somebody up on the pit box is calling that, or the spotter up on top of the roof. So I always used to look in my mirror and try to anticipate when all that was going to happen. But I watched the Allmendinger pit stop from up here, and he's going to get another penalty for being over the lines.
42 laps complete. Here's Blaney pulling out as Allmendinger tries to get in, and they collide on pit road.
All right, just past halfway through stage one at the Kansas Speedway, Denny Hamlin has cycled back into the race lead following green flag pit stops that have just concluded for pretty much the entirety of the field. Cole Custer has not yet been to pit road up inside the top 10. I believe he is the only driver that has not made a stop yet, maybe trying to run all the way to the end of the fuel run, which means he could go about another 17 to 20, 25 laps, somewhere in that ballpark. Like run about 60 laps on a full tank of fuel, maybe just more than that under green flag conditions here at Kansas. So Cole Custer in fourth right now, the only one yet to hit pit road. Top 10 in the running order right now. Denny Hamlin up by 1.7 seconds over Larson in second. Tyler Reddick has dropped to third at 2.4 seconds out of the lead. He was second before the green flag pit stop started to take place. Cole Custer 4.2 seconds and dropping back in fourth on those older tires. Ty Gibbs is 4.4 back in fifth. 6.4 seconds out of the lead, and sixth is Chris Buescher. And actually, let me run through this again because it looks like Cole Custer finally came into the pits. So top three stays the same. Then it's 4.9 seconds to Ty Gibbs in fourth after Hamlin, Larson, and Reddick 1, 2, 3. Chris Buescher fifth, 6.3 seconds back. Bubba Wallace now sixth, 8.4 seconds out of the lead. Seventh place is Chase Briscoe at 8.4 seconds back, 9.9 back for William Byron in eighth. Ryan Preece is 11.4 seconds out of the lead in ninth. Christopher Bell rounds out the top 10. He's 12.31 seconds out of the lead. Ryan Blaney's dropped a few spots. He was running seventh before the pit stops. The contact between he and A.J. Allmendinger on pit road has cost him. He is now back 5 positions from where he originally was, and Blaney is now in 12th. And I wonder how much damage he might have to the right front fender of his car after making contact with Allmendinger. Blaney was coming out of his box as the 16 was coming in. AJ had a pit road penalty for pitting out of the box plus the slow stop itself. He is now in last, 2 laps down. Couple cars already going 1 lap down. John Hunter Nemechek, Ross Chastain, Connor Zilic, Noah Gragson, Ty Dillon, Cole Custer, Cody Ware, AJ Allmendinger, and Zane Smith all off of the lead lap. 28 cars on the lead lap as of now. And the struggles continue for Trackhouse, and that one team specifically, Ross Chastain in 31st place. A lap down in the early laps, struggling in another race this season. And it's very concerning now, I think, for that one team at Trackhouse because this is a track that Chastain's won at before with this team. The mile-and-a-half tracks, he's won at a couple of them now over the last couple seasons. It's kind of been at least a strong suit with this program, and this year they're just nowhere to be found anywhere in the top half of the field, and he's 21st in points for a reason.
Larson, obviously he got Reddick, Larry. It was good, it was not. Well, the real loser on that green flag stops was Carson Hocevar. He ran farther than anyone. Clambered his creatures right down the middle. But the whammy was a 15-second pit stop, and now he's sitting back in 18th, almost 20 seconds behind the lead. One of their air wrenches broke during the pit stop. That was the problem, according to us on Hocevar's stop.
Well, and that's what we talk about, right? Like it's the pit road stuff is so important. I know in this instance the pit gun broke and there's nothing they can do about that. But all these little things that happen on pit road are so hard to overcome.
So there is the pit cycle with the running order on the left and where they were when they pitted before the pit cycle began. On the right, Chris Buescher, a big gainer, up 4 spots since then. William Byron up 4, as was Christopher Bell. The key will be, like for Buescher, he pitted early. We'll be able to see if that plays off longer in the run. I mean, that's the balance, the counterbalance, if you will. You got to get this track position somehow, some way. Getting into the pits is probably the easiest way, Kevin. Regan?
Just to update Ryan Blaney, we saw that contact down pit road, checked with the team. They've got pictures of it, looked at it, told Ryan everything is fine from what we can see. And Ryan told the car feels good to him as well in terms of the steering. As for how it's been driving this race so far, starting off tight, migrated 2-3, needed both ends of the race car to work a little bit better. But I did look at his right front tire that came off. And much like yesterday in practice, these tires are starting to string apart to where they're unwrapping around some of them. A number of tires have been out pit road like that.
Yeah, and talking about the tires, that's what I was talking about earlier. You gotta be aware of what you need to do to take care of the tires. As we see, Hocevar put Corey Heim and Riley Hertz 3 wide right there.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Look out.
Oh,
What a save.
That was close.
Those are teammates.
Has to be. He pushed together, spinning early in the race, and then at the end of the race, Hertz got turned around by Busch. Busch did not go hunting Riley Hertz because 70 laps earlier he passed it cleanly, could have had contact then, didn't bother to. We looked at the video. He's got loose off turn 4, and Kyle Busch just didn't lift. Guess what? They started right together, nose to tail, today. Speaking of Kyle, here comes Denny Hamlin. I spent the last 2 days with Kyle down at the Veredette Jackson auction in Palm Beach, where he and his wife Samantha sold a couple of their collector cars, and it was a whole different Kyle Busch than at the racetrack.
Yeah, and
Hamlin did well.
They had a great time and did well. Whole different than the racetrack. So he doesn't do well and he's not having a good time is what Mike Joy is saying.
It's like I can make his life else. Didn't see this right here, but this is the way that we thought it would go today. At some point, Denny Hamlin would catch Kyle Busch to put him a lap down.
He got ignominious.
Yeah.
Talk about pulling words out of your pocket. That's ridiculous. Denny Hamlin owns a lead of 2 3/4 seconds now on Kyle Larson. This is Tyler Reddick, who started from the pole and is now 4.5 seconds off the lead. That's the Toyota Racing Cam on board the pole sitter.
That shows you how hard it is to pass. Reddick, obviously the fastest car this weekend on the pole, had to move down out of that outside groove and really choke down his speed. Now we're going to try to stay on the outside, but you see, if he did, well, he's going to move down and give us the opportunity to stay on that outside line. But very challenging to pick passes here, Kevin.
And we've seen a lot of people run that line that Zane Smith just ran. We saw it all night last night in the O'Reilly race, where they kind of get to the middle and cut that thing straight down. Really hard on the tires. When you don't run that top of the racetrack, you want to run that as big an arc around the top of the racetrack as you can to take care of the right front and the right rear tire. Now that they've all pitted, somewhat, not all of them, but a lot of them pitted early, they're going to have to run further than what they ran in the first run. I know it's only a handful of laps or so one side or the other, but still, those tires, they could struggle as you get towards the end of this run, Larry.
That pass was a half a second slower and slowed him down. Larry, sorry.
Yeah, I kind of want to focus on Ryan Blaney. Regan Smith was talking about this tire wear. Ryan was one of the cars yesterday that had a right rear that was wore out with a little bit on the right front. He did it at lap 38. That means he's going to have to run 42 laps on this set right here. And definitely they told him after the pit stop, the right front was wore out. I talked to Goodyear yesterday, and they never like to see tire wear, but they felt like it would get better today as the pace slowed down and the track took more rubber. Lap times right now, Larry, to your point, about 1.3 to 1.5 seconds off the fastest laps of the day. Ryan Preece and Corey High racing a fourth car for Team 2311 in a part-time schedule in that 67. Up comes Brad Keselowski against his teammate. Corey High trying to drive away from them.
Yeah, well, Corey Heim, we talk about how good all these Toyota cars are, and he was the very first car to go out in qualifying, so we expected him to go forward. He's been here and raced before, so it's not surprising to see him going in towards the front of the pack.
This is Kyle Busch coming onto pit road, and look at that right front. Trailing
That's the right rear, Mike.
I think it's the right front.
It's all the way down the side.
It's all the way down.
It's a lot of fabric hanging out of that tire, and that's not uncommon as these tires get worn out on the inside.
Wow.
They'll start unraveling that rubber on the top of the tire. So definitely coming apart there.
Denny Hamlin is today's driver profile, sponsored by Toyota. 61 Cup Series wins, 10th on the all-time list, and top of the board here in Kansas with 4 victories, first of which came in 2005 when this track was just 4 years old and Hamlin was 24. Denny Hamlin's won 5 Cup races since Kyle Larson, the second-place driver, last went to victory lane.
Tyler Reddick's got 4 of them already this year, and he's sitting in third. Denny Hamlin with the race lead, 2.5 seconds ahead of Kyle Larson in second place. Tyler Reddick sits in third. Ty Gibbs fourth, and Chris Buescher rounds out the top 5 in fifth. We'll take another quick break. We have just less than 20 laps to go. Stage 1, you're listening live on KRC to full flag-to-flag coverage of today's Advent Health 400. Caution-free so far. F Weasel 4421. John Barber, Daniel Perry Rally, thanks for tuning in. Jason Butts, welcome to the stream. Attaboy Michael McDowell in the 71. Yeah, he's having a decent run here today. Spire Motorsports as a whole looking pretty good. I mean, Hocevar was up in the top 5 early. Lost some time with a slow pit stop. He's now 11th. Daniel Suarez back in 18th. Qualified top 10, though. Michael McDowell still hanging under the lead lap in 23rd. Austin Cindric up 20 positions from the start of the race from 34th to 14th. He is the biggest mover at Stage 1. Good to see Alex Bowman running well. I know he's 19th right now, but he is up 14 positions in this first stage after starting in 33rd. Again, we have not seen a caution yet, so kind of hard to kind of leapfrog an abundant amount of positions in the running order because of the non-ability to kind of go off strategy with the rest of the leaders. Everybody pretty much on the same strategy of splitting the stage right around half. And B, because of the fact that you're not all clustered together, it's kind of hard to pick up multiple positions, say on a restart, versus everything strong out, and positions a lot harder to come by over the long run as we really get going here. But those two have done a great job so far, and they're going to be ones to kind of look for going forward. Corey Heim, another one up double digits. He just got by Ryan Blaney for 12th place at last lap. His 2311 Toyota looks honestly just as good as Tyler Reddick's in third place. Bubba Wallace, who's up almost a handful of positions to 6th after starting 10th. I would put him right there with him. I would not be shocked if Corey Heim is up in the top 5 here by the end of this race today. That 67 looks just as equal. Just didn't quite qualify quite as well because he was the very first car on track in qualifying yesterday. So having that green racetrack just didn't work out well for him with everything swept off post-practice. But Making the most of it on race day.
You're on Fox. Get ready. 6. Sure. Yeah, but Mike, if they're wearing out, you have no choice. You got to put some on there. Remember, he pitted fairly early too. He pitted at lap 33, meaning he's going to have to go 46, 47 laps on his front.
And the reason that he pitted right there, we saw earlier, was all the fabric hanging off the side of the tires, and it just, you know, his car seems to be wearing those tires out a lot quicker.
Pretty hard to believe. Looking at this, that's Denny Hamlin lapping Joey Logano, 3-time champion. Been tough sledding so far with the 22 car. Boy, 3 of the last 4 weeks, Joey Logano has not been among the front runners.
Nowhere near
He's
20th or worse in those races.
Joey, and that's Bubba Wallace getting up against a 3-wide battle of Toyotas.
Yeah, he did brush it a bit.
Real easy to do off of turn 2 when you're running that top line, the way that you follow that wall around, and as you get about almost onto the straightaway, the front end always wants to take off, and just barely got up there against the wall.
Well, that was a battle. That was a 3-wide fight for 6th place. Yeah, and you know who won? Bell. You guys got a 2 for 1 out of that exchange. Passing Briscoe and Wallace, who now fight for 7th. With 9 to go in this stage, Joey Logano is doing a good job keeping that leader from lapping him. That would be uber important if he's able to hold him off.
And the big thing for Joey Logano is he's got those cars right in front of him. So,
Oh, wow.
It almost got taken out by Bubba Wallace coming down the racetrack there, 3 wide.
Hey, you see right now, Denny Hamlin has put Joey Logano a lap down, but Logano is going to fight for his life right here as we have 8 laps to go in this stage. A lot of cars in front of him, so
Can't get it done.
the longer that Logano can hold him up, the better off his chances are that Denny Hamlin would lap another car to keep him from being the lucky dog.
Exactly.
Go there. Over the first door.
He is slowing him down big time.
Well, Logano is very good at defending. There's Logano and Ross Chastain are probably 2 of the best defensive drivers on this circuit. So right now he's doing a good job.
For a moment, I thought they were going to bring Todd Gilliland back to them, and Gilliland would have a chance to get back on the lead lap. But Logano's not done.
I think right here, this is exactly what Hamlin wanted to do. He wanted to get that outside position to be able to put himself in a spot where he didn't have to run the bottom of the racetrack.
That cut a second out of his lead over Larson.
Well, the worst part for Logano is Todd Gilliland went by the 22 car right behind Denny Hamlin in this battle, so that takes him out of the free pass spot. All went bad right there for Joey Logano in a matter of a couple corners.
6 to go in stage 1 as we look back from the Ford Racing cam on Fort Gilliland.
Todd did a nice job of taking advantage of Denny Hamlin and Joey Logano going at it. And, being on the bottom of the racetrack at this point in the run broke that momentum.
Now they pulled up on Shane Van Gisbergen and Michael McDowell, the 22nd and 23rd place car. And Hamlin's going to thread his way through here for these final 5 laps in stage 1.
And you see the 97 of SVG right there, all the way to the top of the racetrack, and that puts Denny back in a spot on the bottom where you just can't finish the corner to carry that momentum down the straightaway.
He's in a mess.
Yeah, Todd Gilliland follows Hamlin through to get by SVG as well. So
SVG's been carrying the flag from Trackhouse. The other two cars are another 10 spots back. Here's Gilliland with a chance to get back on the lead lap. Maybe. Oh, maybe not.
Well, right now he just wants the pace with Denny Hamlin.
Oh boy, McDowell almost came up too far, almost. Larry, looks like the strategy game is alive and well today. I'm thinking about Bushers pitting early, got some track position and was able to stay there, didn't really fall off and hurt him. Your job's getting busy. Yeah, it is. And I felt like maybe those guys that pitted early, they could pay the price late in this run, but so far they've not, Clint. But that could change as we get into these longer stages. Pit road is closed this time with 2 to go in the stage and no takers on pit road. Everybody hunting stage points here. The top 10.
Yeah, right now Denny Hamlin has lapped through the 21st place, which is Todd Gilliland right now. This 34 car, Clint, has actually followed Denny Hamlin right up through this pack and actually had the pace to stay with him. Pretty interesting.
Just one more lap car ahead that Hamlin could catch, and that's Austin Dillon.
Wonder if Gilliland pitted later in the run and he's got like fresher tires than those around him.
That's exactly what we're talking about. Sometimes you just get in a spot where you got to slow down and manage that tire.
That's a good indication too. It's not just settle. It's you start you feel it in here. Now Gilliland wants to try to pass Hamlin, so we won't have to start last and take the free pass.
I think Denny let him go.
He got look at the flag. He got a gift. Okay.
I think Denny gave it to him.
That's Denny Hamlin's 8th stage Kansas. The last 3.
Todd Gilliland busted his ass at the end of that last stage, and I think Denny Hamlin saw every bit of it, and he's like, you know what? Here you go. Off turn 4, lets him go. Michael McDowell, last car in the lead lap at the end of stage number 1. That means the free pass is going to go to Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in the 22nd place position. Drivers Michael McDowell, Joey Logano, Shane Van Gisbergen, Josh Berry, Kyle Busch, Ross Chastain. They're all going to be a lap down at the end of this first stage. I would imagine nobody's going to take the wave around here, more than likely, knowing that first stage went caution-free, so everybody has about 40 laps plus on their tires. And we've seen some cording going on with some of the right fronts. I have an hypothesis that I do believe that some of the cording that's going on the right front tires has largely to do with the fact that it's cooler temps for an April race here versus a mid to late May race at Kansas Speedway, and with the cooler temps, that's equating for more speed, more mid-corner speed, and I think there's just more load on the right front tire, especially. And it's weird seeing that tire cord at Kansas versus the right rear or the left rear, because the rear tires seem to burn up more here than the right front. Again, just a hypothesis. I've never driven these race cars before, but I almost wonder if that has anything to do with it, because that's really the only difference that I could think of this Kansas race versus previous Kansas races when it comes to weather. Obviously, they've pretty much used the same tire at most of these mile-and-a-half tracks since the debut of the next-gen car, because this is the one type of track that the racing quality has been pretty high at since we debuted. Horsepower change only for the shorter ovals as well as road courses, not on these mile-and-a-half tracks and bigger. That rides a Harley. Thanks for tuning into the stream, as well as many others. If I haven't shouted you out, I greatly appreciate you all tuning in. Just reached the end of stage 1 here today. We are at 55 likes on the stream. Our goal to get to 150. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. So Denny Hamlin wins stage 1, Kyle Larson 2nd, Tyler Reddick 3rd, Ty Gibbs 4th, 5th is Christopher Bell, Chase Elliott was 6th, Chase Briscoe 7th, Carson Hocevar 8th, Bubba Wallace 9th, and Corey Heim rounds out the top 10. Great run for Heim. So that's the top 10 in the running order at the end of stage number 1. Points awarded to all of those finishing the top 10 out, 1 point per position. 77 laps led already today for Denny Hamlin out of 83, up over 500 laps led now on the season.
Same guys that went to victory lane 6 times last year, already once this year. Let's meet Team 11.
Just some marquee reds.
Yeah.
Change. I like long on the beach.
Jordan, long, Jack Ryan, is your powerful Smith. Tire carrier. Spare talent bunch on and off the track. You know, I just told you, Larry, that Busher, that strategy did good. We know that he pitted early, but he lost, went from 8th to 12th on the last lap. Wonder if that was tire trouble. Well, I think we got some radio that may tell us that. Yeah, what we're seeing, reading the radio, is the fact that maybe he's got a right rear issue and he slid up into the wall right before that stage ended.
Yeah, he's got some right side damage on that car. That
well, that's what we were wondering, right?
Yeah.
He short pitted, ran long on that run, and probably had a tire come loose. You can see a little damage on the right rear. All right, the pits will be open this time. They'll fill up with Sunoco race fuel with Poet Zero Carbon Bioethanol and some Crush Goodyear tires. Get ready for stage 2. Regan?
Like the 20 car, Christopher Bell comes to the number 1 rated team on pit road, and they will be able to focus on nothing but a good pit stop because he is pleased with the car, so the balance is good. It feels really nice. The 9 car, Chase Elliott, felt like he hurt the right rear tire too much in that last run. Car was balanced good, but he hurt the right rear. Jamie?
Kyle Larson's at the back end, a little bit edgy. He got slick at the end. He actually hit the wall off of 2. They're going to make a right rear air pressure adjustment to help that grip. Meanwhile, the Denny Hamlin is dominated today. Little free in, tight center off, nothing major for the 11.
Charlotte 45. Chase Elliott picks up 3 spots with a 4-time change.
Stop for the 9 bunch.
Lee White was a professional team manager and an Indy 500 winning engine builder. He headed up IMSA GTO road racing for Roush and Ford, and it was in the same role for Oldsmobile, then became a key figure in bringing Toyota to NASCAR. He retired as president and general manager for Toyota Racing Development. Lee White passed recently, age 78. Mike.
Denny Hamlin wins the race off of pit road. Kyle Larson set to restart in the second place position, I do believe. Chase Elliott up 3 positions in the pits. Gonna wait for them to get back to the start-finish line this next lap just to make sure that our leaderboard is updated before I go through the top portion of the field and where they will all restart. Ryan Blaney's pit crew fail him again. I think he was 12th at the end of stage 1, 11th or 12th, and he comes out 22nd. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe that, like, it's crazy that it's quite literally every week that 12 team has struggled as bad as they have. That is not exaggeratory at all either. I mean, it is every week, and it seems like it's almost every stop. That part might be a little bit exaggeratory, but Where was he? I think he was 12th at one point. If Chris Buescher fell back to 12th on the final lap of the stage, I think Blaney was 11th then. And Ryan Blaney goes from 11th to, it looks like, 21st. So he lost 10 positions on pit road. Lost 86 spots already this year. And that's the thing. It's like it could turn a good day bad or make a great day harder to have a great finish by the end. Or it can make a decent day bad, a day where you're already struggling even worse. It's not good. Any way, shape, or form, it is not good. And he's better than a 21st place car today, but he's borderline top 10. Yeah, 22nd, so did look to be right the first time around. Denny Hamlin wins the race off pit road. He'll be the leader after winning stage 1 in dominating fashion. Kyle Larson second, Chase Elliott third, Tyler Reddick fourth, Christopher Bell fifth, Ty Gibbs in sixth, Chase Briscoe seventh, Bubba Wallace eighth, William Byron ninth, Chris Buescher in 10th. 11th for Alex Bowman and Brad Keselowski 12th. Want Toyota to stop dominating, tell other manufacturers to get good. Yeah, pretty much. That's what it's going to boil down to. Reddick's got 4 wins, 1 for Denny Hamlin, 1 now for Ty Gibbs. That is 6 wins out of 8 races for Toyota as a manufacturer to start 2026. And here today, Denny Hamlin and other Toyota winning stage 1. And this field, outside of Larson and Chase Elliott, dominated by Toyotas. 5 of them in the top 8. 6 of them in the top 8 at the end of stage 1. Corey Heim was 10th at the end of stage 1. And he actually lost 9 positions on pit road as well. So now Heim is back to 19th. Remember, that 67 team it's not a full-time race team. So that's the 4th best pit crew, not only for 2311, but they're also not pitting cars every week. So a little bit harder for them to have as good of a stop as maybe some of their other teammates. I can cut them a little bit of slack. I'm not cutting that 12 team any slack.
For stage number 2, Ryan Blaney spent a lot of time on pit road. They were working on the front splitter of his car and took the 20 men over the wall penalty so they could get that repair made. He'll start in the back.
Okay. That's why he lost those spots then. Wow. That's a high amount of cording.
Restart back in 18.
Yeah, and he's got like you said, I mean, he's got a car capable of running at the front of this pack, but you're never going to do it when you have pit stops like that. That's 2 for the day.
Stage 1 went clean and green, 80 laps. Stage 2 is 85 laps. The final stage, 102. The Toyota Camry XSE pace car on pit road.
All right, green flag back in the air. Stage 2 underway. Denny Hamlin inside of row 1 will lead the field down into turns 1 and 2. Kyle Larson outside of row 1. His teammate right behind him of Chase Elliott, but not going to be able to give him a push. Meanwhile, Tyler Reddick in the 45 will push his boss Denny Hamlin to the lead in turns 1 and 2. Larson in that middle groove. Has a run after Denny Hamlin will pull to the inside, middle of the back straightaway. Chase Elliott clear for third on Reddick into turn 3. Elliott going all the way to the high side where he can get the clean air in the nose, while the 5 and the 11 run door to door Larson slides up in front of Hamlin and clear out of turn 4. Hamlin had to lift to keep it off the wall, and here comes Chase Elliott to second, and Hendrick Motorsports now 1-2 in front of 6 straight Toyotas that run behind them. Reddick nearly getting by Denny Hamlin for third through turns 1 and 2, but couldn't pull clear in the middle of the corner quick enough. Hamlin gets the run off the high side and pulls right back past Reddick again. Hamlin led for 77 laps in stage 1. Had 3 lead changes early on, a couple more during the green flag pit stops, another one on the restart with Kyle Larson taking his first lead of the afternoon. So Larson leads now. Chase Elliott's in second. Tyler Reddick now third through turns 1 and 2 on the third lap after the restart, barely clearing Denny Hamlin. Hamlin now back to fourth, and Chase Briscoe rounds out the top 5 and fifth. So that is the top 5 in the running order, the interval between each and every one of them. Still 176 laps to go. We have not had a caution for incident today. That lap 80 stage break, the only caution thus far. All 37 cars that started the race are still in it. Nobody took the wave around during the caution. We have 23 cars on the lead lap. At 34, Todd Gilliland was looking good at the end of stage 1. The pit crew as well for that 34 team also gained 7 spots with a 4-tire stop on pit road. And he is up to 15th. It's also worth noting that Gilliland and that 34 team coming in off a 6th place finish at Bristol last week. That is great for Front Row Motorsports and not a team that's consistently running in the top 10 every week. Got another spot on the restart. Gilliland in 14th place. Quietly putting solid runs together here as of recent weeks. Pretty deep in the point standings this early in the season if you're looking at maybe a run to try to make the chase. Moved up a couple spots in points after that top 10 at Bristol. He's 26th in points entering this week, but you never know. I mean, you get a top 10 finish here today. I mean, you look at the point standings, he's 26 points out of 21st. 29 points out of 20th. I mean, he goes out here, he gets a top 10. Who's to say he doesn't move up to around 20th in points? And at that spot, then you're only 4 positions out. Talladega's next week. That could go any which way. We've seen Front Row Motorsports win at Talladega before. Multiple times the 34 car has had good runs there with Michael McDowell back in the day. Of course, the 2021 Daytona 500 victory, but Todd Gilliland's had some good runs himself on that style racetrack. Good stretch of the season for Todd Gilliland, and we'll keep an eye on him as this race progresses. Chase Elliott doing a fantastic job so far in the early going of this green flag run to begin stage 2 to hold off the Toyotas of Tyler Reddick and Denny Hamlin that he was able to get by on the restart. That is allowing Kyle Larson to pull out to a little bit of a bigger lead. Reddick pulls out from behind the 9 car, looking to the inside through turns 1 and 2. Hangs on the left rear corner panel down the back straightaway. Will pull back to him to side draft once more before arcing the angle off into turn 3. Reddick will slide up in front of him. Well clear by a couple of car lengths. Chase Elliott maybe going to try a crossover. Reddick with a block all the way to the apron. Elliott near the grass in the center of the tri-oval. A very defensive move by Reddick as he holds on for position number 2. Heated battle allowing for Denny Hamlin now to maybe build a run through 1 and 2 on the high side. Elliott went to the middle. Hamlin's got a lot of speed down the back straightaway, and he'll try to attack for third on Chase Elliott next. Hamlin to the inside lane. Not all the way to the white line, but kind of that middle groove, if you will. Chase Elliott near the top. Tried to come down on Denny Hamlin's right side. I'm not sure what he did there, but looked like he was trying to pinch Hamlin off a corner exit, and all that ended up doing was nearly making contact, and Elliott was the one who lifted instead. Hamlin to third. So now the top 5 in the running order is Kyle Larson still in first. His lead is 1.2 seconds over Tyler Reddick. Then a 1.8 second lead over Denny Hamlin in third. Chase Elliott 1.9 back and fourth. And Christopher Bell 2.9 seconds out of the lead in fifth. Kyle Larson has the fastest lap of the race now. Once he got into the lead, put down the fastest lap of the race on lap 90 here early in stage 2 with that clean air. 30.184 was his fast lap. Well off of the pole time set by Tyler Reddick yesterday, which was down in the 29.2s. That is a bonus point awarded to the driver who has the fastest lap of the race. So again, Xfinity fastest lap so far, Tyler Reddick. Some other drivers to run their fastest laps in the beginning of Stage 2 would include Chase Elliott, Christopher Bell, Chase Briscoe, Chris Buescher, Ty Gibbs, and Alex Bowman of those in the top 10. And sporadically throughout the rest of the field, there's quite a few drivers to run their fastest laps on this restart. The only drivers in the top 10 not to run their fastest laps of the race on this restart and on the initial start of the races where they got it is Bubba Wallace in 10th, and then the second and third place cars, also Toyota's Tyler Reddick and Denny Hamlin. Kyle Larson getting by AJ Allmendinger in the 16. Looking to put AJ a lap down. And AJ actually going to lose another lap. I believe he came to pit road on that restart or something for him to be 3 laps down in 37th. Not exactly sure how that happened. But loses another one. Lap for Tyler Reddick to close the gap just a little bit that last lap, with Larson having to pull off of the outside lane and get by the 16 car. Took him about 2 corners to do so. From dropping to the middle groove and now back up near the outside lane near the wall. Of course, the traditional Kyle Larson line, the line he likes to ride the most when we come to tracks like Kansas Speedway. Kyle Larson has not won in the NASCAR Cup Series since the spring race at Kansas last year. And again, obviously, usually this race in May, obviously April this season. So not quite a full calendar year, but it has been since Kansas last spring. He did win the championship in the fall last year at Phoenix, but did not win the race to do so and hasn't won an actual race since. Trying to break through to victory lane for the first time this season. Chevy with just 1 win in 2026. It was Chase Elliott at Martinsville, also for Hendrick Motorsports a couple of weeks ago. Six lead changes, an hour and a few minutes into the race. Lap 104 of 267 with an ultra-fast race pace, and this race being caution-free minus the lap 80 stage break thus far. 7 laps spent under yellow during the stage break itself. Once Larson got ahead of AJ Allmendinger, he did extend the lead just a little bit more. He's about a tenth a second faster a lap right now than both Reddick and Hamlin. Hamlin looks a little bit faster in the pacing by a couple hundredths a lap over Tyler Reddick, which would make sense considering Hamlin won stage 1 and Reddick was 3rd. Reddick dealing with a lot more cording issues on the right side tire for his race car than what we were seeing dealt with for maybe some of the other front runners in the field at least. But he's very much in contention yet again here today, and Reddick is going to be another interesting story if he's competing for a win at Kansas, trying to go for his 5th already of the season. I don't think Richard Petty's 27 is in a record-breaking scare this season, but I'm just curious to see how many of these is Tyler Reddick going to be able to rack up. We've not seen anybody win more than 10 races in the NASCAR Cup Series since I believe Jeff Gordon won 13 of them back in 1997, so it's been quite some time. More than 13, I have no clue what that number is. We'll worry about it if Reddick gets close. Kyle Larson was able to win 10 races in 2021 to his championship. He was the first to do so since Jimmy Johnson in 2008. Reddick trying to be one to do so. So you see the point standings on the screen right now. Again, Reddick first in points coming in. Ryan Blaney second. Denny Hamlin third. Ty Gibbs fourth. Chase Elliott fifth. And Kyle Larson sixth, who leads right now. William Byron seventh. Bubba Wallace eighth. Christopher Bell ninth. Chris Buescher rounds out the top 10 in points. Asked you guys in the chat poll who you think is going to win today's race, and right now 104 of you have voted. And as of right now, Kyle Larson at 38% of the votes, 44% saying somebody other than Larson, Reddick, or Hamlin for the win. Hamlin might pick up to 12%. The pre-race, he was only at 2% after like 45 votes. So he's gone up a bit after dominating stage 1 and is back into that third place position again. Lost a couple spots on the restart, despite winning the race off of pit road. Tyler Reddick had 6% of the votes, sitting in second, finished third at the end of stage 1. That was the top 3 at the end of stage 1 were my personal 3 favorites. So They're all looking good right now, but somebody other than those three is still the top vote getting poll in the poll. Reddick not letting Larson get away. It's still an 8/10 of a second lead for Larson over Reddick. 1.6 seconds to Denny Hamlin in third. 3.9 back for Chase Elliott in fourth. He got the second initially on the restart, falling back some now. 4.9 seconds out of the lead, and up to fifth on the restart is Christopher Bell. Chase Briscoe in sixth to 6.2 back. Chris Buescher 7 seconds back at seventh. Ty Gibbs 7.6 seconds back in eighth. Bubba Wallace in ninth place is 8.8 seconds out of the lead. And how about Alex Bowman into the top 10? He's 9.1 seconds back in 10th. Good to see Alex Bowman back inside the top 10. His second race back after missing 4 full races and 1 partial race due to vertigo. An off week in there as well. He's missed quite some time. First mile and a half track he's been able to race this season and looking pretty good. Another kind of struggling week for William Byron in the 24 team out around 11. Not like last week at Bristol where they were running outside the top 30, but still not great. Corey Heim, after losing 9 positions on pit road, finished 10th at the end of stage 1's back up to 15th. He's gained 4 positions since the restart over the course of around 25 laps. Ryan Preece has lost quite some time. He was in the top 10 for a brief moment earlier in stage 1. He's now back to 19th. Ryan Blaney stayed on pit road. They lost some time trying to repair a little bit of that damage on the right front fender after contact on pit road with A.J. Allmendinger back at stage 1 during green flag pit stops. Blaney is now battling with Daniel Suarez for 20th on the track. He's only gained a few positions since the restart. Kyle Busch currently in the free pass position in 2030. He's up 10 positions since the restart, so maybe stopping the cording issue on that right front tire there. That's good to hear. And Kyle Busch looking better than what he was back at stage number 1. So any Busch fans hoping he can get back on the lead lap, you got to hope for a caution, or at least for him to stay where he's running right now until the end of stage 1 and hope that there aren't any more cars that are on the lead lap currently that would go lap down if we do stay green throughout the entirety of stage 2 like we did in the first 80 laps. Blaney now getting by Gregson for 19th, 1 lap after passing Suarez for 20th. 12 car riding around the bottom lane of the racetrack, very well wrapping that white line. Larson back out to a 1 second lead, yet again. Mentioned about Hamlin and Larson leading the most laps so far in the season. Hamlin has now led over 500 laps this year with the 83 that he has led today. Had 444 coming in. Larson had 421 coming in. Needs 79 laps led to get to 500 on the season. Currently, Larson has led for 27 laps. Most laps led at Kansas all time. Kyle Larson, number 1, and adding to that record. He's a 3-time Kansas winner. Denny Hamlin, a 4-time Kansas winner, so no surprise both those drivers are up inside the top 3. Chase Elliott, a 2-time Kansas winner, sits in 4th. Tyler Reddick has won here before, so a lot of former winners up at the front of the field. It's the guys who run here the best and run here the most up at the front of the field happen to be the ones that are doing it again here today. Also, between the 4 of those drivers, not all their wins, but at least one of their wins have come in the next-gen car. So they've all won in the next-gen here, and they've actually, I believe, all won here in the Gen 6, minus Tyler Reddick as well. Reddick's only win here came with the next-gen, and I believe that was in the first 2023 spring race is what it was, where Reddick got the W. Larson about a 10th quicker each of the last 4 laps consecutively for Reddick. Reddick is fading a bit. Denny Hamlin's starting to reel him in. And that last lap, Hamlin was actually just a bit quicker than Larson, even though he's closing on Reddick and might be dealing with a little bit of dirty air through the corners when running a semi-similar or right behind line up Tyler Reddick in front of him. Only Ford up inside the top 10. Shout out to Chris Buescher in 7th place right now, having a pretty solid day. Blaney continues to struggle, I think I'm going to take him out of my starting lineup and put him in my garage on the fantasy team. Especially because I've used him 5 times already this season, too. So maybe not a good week to use him. He didn't get any stage points in stage 1. Unlike the rest of the fantasy team did. Got Larson, Reddick, Hamlin, Ty Gibbs. And who else do I have on my team? Obviously, Blaney. Pulling it up. Might as well change it now before I forget. Plug Ty Gibbs in for Ryan Blaney. Christopher Bell, who is also in the top 10 on my team. Quiet day for Bell, but having a good run. Green flag pit stops. Ty Gibbs is in.
Let's go. And it's begun. Bring it.
It's 20 for Christopher Bell. Late call to hurry up and get to pit road right there. Here's the car. Elliott, of course. That's a strategy call. Finding a leader, Chase Elliott. Bring it. Chase Elliott, 9 car has been flying on the radio this run, and I can tell you, looking at his tires after the previous run, some of the best looking tires on pit roads. There's a good reason for that, guys. Alex Bowman, Chris Bush are coming from their stops. Not that many takers in the first couple of laps of this cycle, so everybody's sticking pretty much to Larry's plan here, for the most part.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that depends on like I said, the handling of your race car. If you've given up positions, but you felt like your race car was pretty good the run before on the long run, you can take that chance with you guys that you are around. So a lot of scenarios of where you need to be, but I think a lot of these guys might be a little gun shy because of the tire wear, not wanting to pit too early to put themselves in a position where that tire could come apart if we run green all the way to the end of the stage.
Eric Jones has been in and out. Kyle Busch completes his stop. Brad Keselowski in. As Larson completes another lap, that's 124.
Oh, Larson's coming in. Larson's into the pits. Same for Reddick and Hamlin. Hamlin coming in hot.
Shouldn't close the gap on that. See him up the track map.
Something that was coming on to pit road. Denny Hamlin made up a bunch of time on Tyler Reddick.
You see the leaders taking off, and you'll see in your track map the 9 coming in. He's going to get the 11 right there on your right of your screen. That was a short pit call by Al. Great call. Got some track position for the 9. Let's see if it'll hold on the backside of this run.
Chase Elliott's been on the side of having the alternate pit strategies, it seems like, in recent weeks. It's worked out well for him, so why not keep going if you're Alan Gustafson with these calls? Whether you're short pitting or pitting long, most of the time it seems like it's been short pitting for that 9 group more often than not. Few cars still have yet to hit pit road at the front of the field. The top 3, Carson Hocevar, Kyle Larson, and Ryan Blaney, have yet to come to pit road. Todd Gilliland's actually on his way in right now. So Gilliland's in the pits, leaving Hocevar and Blaney yet to make a stop. Larson has cycled to third. Chase Elliott with pitting early gained a spot on both Denny Hamlin and Tyler Reddick. Slow stop for the 45 bunch as the 20 of Christopher Bell also cycles in front of Tyler Reddick in the pits. Carson Hocevar on his way in. Same for Ryan Blaney.
Going to come in and hope for a better pit stop this time. They've had a couple of rough stops to begin the race. Car's running fast today, though.
Blaney comes in with him, and that will complete the cycle. Blaney with a new Jackman this week. That's the one change they have made. And the Jackman that they hired unable to be here this weekend for personal reasons. So they had to tip down and take what was the 4's Jackman. He got the 51's Jackman. So a lot of checkers moving around on pit road to try to make this happen.
This is about the first weekend I can remember Blaney struggling. I mean, he has been, no matter what track, what the challenge, whether it be pit road or whatever, has drove right back to the front. One of the fastest cars we've seen in 2026. Struggling today.
Yeah, he's about to go.
He might be going a lap down here. Now, he did pit a little bit after Larson, so he's got a few lap fresher tires, but Ryan Blaney will get lapped as he's trying to get the speed down the back straightaway at the hands of the 5, which would mean that Kyle Busch is no longer in the free pass position if a caution were to come out. He was in 23rd, first car lap down. Cole Custer and Ryan Blaney have now gone a lap down during this current green flag run. 50 laps complete in stage number 2, lap 130 of 267 entirely in today's race. And we are watching this live, obviously, on your local Fox affiliate is where you can find this afternoon's race. Kyle Larson, your race leader. Chase Elliott second. Denny Hamlin third. Christopher Bell fourth. Tyler Reddick in fifth. In sixth place is Ty Gibbs. Seventh is Chase Briscoe. Alex Bowman eighth. Bubba Wallace ninth. Brad Keselowski rounds out the top 10. Chris Buescher in 11th, Austin Cindric 12th, Riley Herbst 13th, William Byron 14th, and Austin Dillon 15th. 16th is Carson Hocevar, Corey Hyman 17th, Todd Gillen 18th, Daniel Suarez 19th, and Ryan Preece 20th. 21st, Ryan Blaney, the first car lap down, then Zane Smith the 22nd, Cole Custer 23rd, Michael McDowell 24th, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 25th. Kyle Busch 26th, Derek Jones 27th, Jonathan Nemechek 28th, 29th is Shane Van Gisbergen, AJ Allmendinger in 30th, Ross Chastain 31st, Noah Gragson 32nd, Josh Berry 33rd, Joey Logano 34th, Connor Zilic 35th, Ty Dillon 36th, and Cody Ware rounds out the 37-car field. Everybody still in the race. Nearly 1 hour and 20 minutes in, and we're almost halfway already. 1 caution, 9 lead changes, and 7 caution laps. Only 1 yellow comes out for that stage break at lap 80, and we have about 32 laps to go yet in stage number 2. You're listening live on KRC, full flag-to-flag coverage, and continue to watch live right here on the channel. Watch and or listen live. Yeah, I've never had vertigo, so I've heard it's kind of like a motion sickness, so I can imagine there's a reason why Alex Bowman has not been medically cleared to race high speed around ovals, especially in recent weeks. But like I said, good to see that not only he was back last week in the race car, but also good to see him running top 10 today up to 9th place. Every time I look at Alex Bowman in the running order, he's better and better. He started 33rd, so he has not only made a great climb, but he is running really, really good. I think he's just as good as at least Chase Elliott, who is running 3rd place right now for Hendrick Motorsports. Car-wise and what he's been able to do behind the wheel, 33rd to 9th is pretty impressive when there hasn't even been a caution for incident today to try to help him gain even more time quicker. Slow work in progress. Man, he barely, and I mean barely touched it.
The weak spot that kind of sticks out with this 45 is definitely pit road, but that hitting the wall like that won't make that thing drive better, Clint.
Larson up front, Hamlin, Elliott, there's Reddick in fourth. Hamlin's lead with the lap car of Noah Gregson. And back to fifth place. Regan.
Like we told you that he felt like he might need a little more turn after the yellow flag stops. Thought it was going to be good after the green flag stop. But right now, felt just a little bit too tight since we've had those green flag stops. Going to need an adjustment to that.
Yeah, and that's really one of those characteristics of this racetrack. And when it takes a swing, it sticks with you for the rest of the day.
Ty Gibbs, fresh off his big win. First win for him at Bristol last weekend. Running six, home steady.
Yeah, we saw them struggle on the last stop to be able to get the handling right. First car to pit, back on the racetrack, so running six right now, hoping that the handling is improved on the car.
Bubba Wallace had a brush with the wall early and a little bit of contact, but now he's kind of settled out in seventh place. 13 seconds back.
And I really expected him to be contending for the win today with all the Toyotas up in the front. They're doing an okay job right now in seventh position, but definitely expected a little more out of the 23 overall.
Behind him, another Toyota. That's six in the top eight. Chase Briscoe running eight. Brad Keselowski in ninth. Regan.
Like, it's been a nice move through the field for Brad Keselowski right now. Running ninth, as you just said, and a little bit too on the tight side for that car. But crew chief Jeremy Collins told me before the race started, our strength is going to be the long runs. We feel like the longer the runs, the better that we can be, and that's exactly what's been going on for Brad's part today.
Chris Buescher back in 10th now. He had been the fastest Ford for most of the day, but Larry, they had trouble on their last stop.
They did, Mike. I mean, they had been money because their first stop under green was 9.2, 9.2 again at the end of stage one, but that last green flag pit stop at lap 125, 12.7, that got him behind right there.
Well, he's lucky he's not further behind, but this guy right here, Alex Bowman, has done a really nice job. I was concerned with him after starting 33rd to begin this race and didn't really make up much ground on the first run. But man, since then, he's driven his way up to where he is currently in 11th spot, but doing a nice job for his first time on a mile and a half this year.
Needs one more spot because this has been his best track for top tens. Austin Cindric also started out back after a rough day in qualifying yesterday, but raced his way up into the top 20. And now, after restarting 16th, he's up to 12th.
He got Hosevar starting sixth in the race. Boy, he's had trouble on pit road today. He moves up, started up, had trouble, drove back up to the front, had more trouble. Trying to dig back out of that hole right now.
He's been the Ryan Blaney of this week.
Sure has. Austin Cindric behind him. Another car that started way back in 34th. Marched up through the field quite nicely.
And Riley Herbst had a rough day there at Bristol last week, but here he is in 14th place, doing a good job on the lead lap. Restarted 15th.
William Byron right behind him in the 24. Been pretty quiet today. See his teammate up there, Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott up in the top three. So a little bit off of those guys. Really struggled last week at Bristol and just hasn't been able to wrap his arms around what they need this week either.
Says you can't load the car hard getting in the corner, Byron said. Jamie?
Corey Heim behind him. Started at gate 24, went up to 12. Then he split. Last round of stops back and getting his way forward. You know, Corey Heim spends about every day during the week in the simulator helping out his 11. He
Maybe now. Austin Dillon overcame being off the lead lap early in the race, drifted back, but now he's back on the lead lap and running in 17th, best of the RCR cars. Toys for Tots on there this week. Todd Gilliland, we mentioned, got back on the lead lap, or stayed on the lead lap at the end of stage one. Ryan Preece completes the RFK trio. He's had a lead lap finish every race this year, one of only 3 drivers to do so. And the last car on the lead lap is Daniel Suarez, who was the fastest Chevrolet in practice and the second quickest bow tie in qualifying. And that takes you through all of the 20 lead lap cars at lap 147. Kyle Larson out front.
17 laps to go. Stage 2, Kyle Larson has stretched his lead out to 4.5 seconds over Denny Hamlin in second. Chase Elliott sits third. Tyler Reddick fourth. Christopher Bell rounds out the top 5 in fifth. Bubba Wallace 6th. Ty Gibbs in 7th. Brad Keselowski 8th. Chris Buescher 9th. Chase Briscoe rounds out the top 10. Then Carson Hocevar in 11th. Alex Bowman 12th. Riley Herbst 13th. William Byron 14th. And Austin Cindric in 15th. Corey Heim 16th, Austin Dillon 17th, Todd Gillen 18th, Ryan Preece 19th, and Daniel Suarez 20th. Suarez the last car in the lead lap, then Ryan Blaney first car lap down in 21st, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 22nd, Cole Custer 23rd, Kyle Busch 24th, Eric Jones 25th. 26th, John Hunter Nemechek, Ross Chastain 27th, Josh Berry 28th, Joey Logano 29th, and Noah Gragson in 30th. 31st, Connor Zillage, Shane Van Gisbergen 32nd, Ty Dillon 33rd, Zane Smith 34th, and Michael McDowell 35th. 36, AJ Allmendinger and Cody Ware 37th rounds out our field of cars. 9 lead changes, just under an hour and a half in, lap 151 of 267. 7 laps under caution. The only yellow so far still the lap 80 stage break. Lap 165 will be the end of stage 2 about 15 laps from now. You're listening live on KRC. Full flag-to-flag coverage continues of the Advent Health 400 at Kansas right here on the channel. Our like goal is to get to 150. Right now we are at 67. So be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. We got just over 100 concurrent viewers watching. And subscribe for more NASCAR content. We're live every NASCAR race weekend for Truck, O'Reilly, and Cup Series races, as well as Cup practice and qualifying. We'll be live next week, Talladega, baby. Talladega Super Speedway. We actually have an extra stream with that. Well, kind of not really an extra stream. The Truck Series is off next week, so not really an extra stream, but taking the Truck Series race stream, we will be doing live commentary for ARCA. I usually do the Super Speedway races for ARCA, so we did Daytona. We're going to be doing Talladega as well here coming up soon. So Talladega Super Speedway, ARCA race, we will be live for that next Saturday. So triple header on Saturday between Cup qualifying, ARCA, and O'Reilly racing, and then the Cup Series with the 500-mile race on Sunday. That is what we have to look forward to on KRC. Should be another fun one. Going to be coming up on 12 laps to go this time by in Stage 2. I'll look up the start times for next weekend's streams as well here in a second, so give me a chance to look at that. Oh, looking at everything right now. Actually, they're showing the start times for us. Okay, so on Saturday we will go live late in Saturday morning for NASCAR Cup Series qualifying. No practice on the Super Speedway Oval, so that's going to be kind of a short stream. Again, just qualifying for Talladega for the NASCAR Cup Series. And that will be at about 10 a.m. Eastern Time. So 10 a.m. Eastern, we'll be live next Saturday, Cup Series qualifying at Talladega. Then at 12:30 p.m. Eastern, we'll be live for the ARCA race at Talladega, followed by at 4 p.m. Eastern, the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race. So triple header next Saturday on the channel. Sunday we'll be live at 2:30 p.m. Eastern for the NASCAR Cup race. Again, all Talladega, all 4 streams, 2 days, Saturday and Sunday. I'll have the community tab upload later in the week, and then I'll also end up doing the going back through the starting times for next weekend's stream. So again, at the end of the stream today. Major Kenneth Withrow, welcome to the stream. Signing in who won the first stage, Denny Hamlin won stage 1. Kyle Larson pulling away in stage 2, though Denny Hamlin's ran him down in a bit of lap traffic for Larson. It was a 4.5 second lead as of the commercial break with 17 to go. Now with 10 laps to go on the stage, the lead is down to 2.2 seconds. So Hamlin's closing and closing fast on Kyle Larson. I'm not sure what's going on with that 5 car, but I don't think the stage is over yet between the 11 and the 5. Larson was second in stage 1 to Denny Hamlin. Tyler Reddick was third in stage 1, third again here in stage 2. Haven't seen a lot of movement of those at the very front of the field in the top 4, top 5 spots or so. I should say really the top 4. The top 5, so 5th on back, I should say, that has been changing a lot in the running order. Like Chris Buescher was 5th at one point during the run. After the green flag pit stops, Bell's car came back to life. He's into 5th again. I think Bell was 5th at the end of stage number 1, but he kind of fell back a bit. Bubba Wallace, who was 6th at the end of stage 1, he's still there right now. Brad Keselowski's moved up into the top 10. He started 21st today. I don't believe he was in the top 10 at the end of stage 1, so no stage points so far for him. Chase Briscoe in 10th after running just outside the top 5 at the end of the first stage. Carson Hocevar, very early in the race, was up in 4th place. 2 slow pit stops for that 77 team. They have lost 10 spots on pit road total today. So he's in 11th right now, trying to come back from both of those. Didn't get stage points at stage 1. He's on the brink of it, currently battling for 10th with Chase Briscoe. Then a 10th or 2 of a second of each other that last time they crossed the start-finish line. And looking on the Fox leaderboard, it looks like Hocevar just made that pass for 10th on Briscoe. So good job done for Carson Hocevar. Yeah, no Penske Fords in the top 10. It's RFK of the Fords up there today. All 3 of them at some point in time have spent time in the top 10. 2 of them there right now, and Ryan Preece, the 3rd car, is currently on the lead lap still, but in 19th. Grace, the last car in the lead lap. Daniel Suarez is the first car lap down, hoping he stays there for when the caution comes out. Remember, Todd Gilliland raced his way to get back on the lead lap at the end of stage 1. And he's still on the lead lap here in stage 2 and 17th, continuously pressing forward. He would have been 23rd at the end of stage 1, so that car's got better. Alex Bowman, who was up as far as 9th, he has faded during this run. He is now back to 16th. He was 9th place just after the green flag pit stops. And I don't think he pitted that early in the run. I think he pitted kind of middle going of the green flag set of stops, so I'm surprised he lost that many positions. Mentioned about Denny Hamlin closing in on Kyle Larson quite a bit for that lead. Now with about 3 laps to go in stage 2, I don't think Hamlin's going to be close enough to catch the 5 car anymore. Couldn't keep that pace up. Larson just struggled for a couple of laps, and some heavier lap traffic is really all that boiled down to. Once he got through it, he got right back to running his consistently fast lap times. Hamlin's still been a little bit quicker than him, but it's only been by about 100th here or there, or a couple hundredths here and there, and not huge chunks like he was for the few laps that he did decrease that deficit. Two laps to go now in stage 2 for Larson. Still caution free in today's race. We are barely over an hour and a half in. We're almost through the first 2 stages. Race is flying by. We've seen a few races like this so far in the Cup Series this season where we haven't seen a lot of yellows, the pace is fast, or we seem to have a lot of cautions and the pace is ridiculously slow. I don't feel like there's been really anything in between on the Cup Series schedule thus far. Quite a few cautions in the O'Reilly race yesterday. Had 7 of them in the first half of a 200-lap race, and then they went the final 95 laps green to the end. So when you consider the long green flag run of 95 laps to the end of the race yesterday, then all of a sudden here today, we haven't had a caution for incident here either. Brad Keselowski making a move on Ty Gibbs for 7th place. Went down to the apron through the tri-oval to get by him that time by at the start-finish line. Not too much further back. Kyle Larson working his way off of turn 4. He'll come to the green-white checkered flag. Dominating effort in stage 2 for Kyle Larson as he picks up the stage win. He had both stage wins at Bristol last week. He gets another one here today. He was 6th in points coming in, highest of those without a race win. He gets a race win, he could jump up a couple spots in points yet again. Kyle Larson, Stage 2 winner at Kansas. Denny Hamlin second, the inverse of what they had between the two of them at Stage 1 when Hamlin won Stage 1 and Larson was second. And you got Tyler Reddick in third for the second consecutive stage. Good points day again for our current points leader. Chase Elliott in fourth, Christopher Bell fifth. Bubba Wallace ended up sixth. Seventh for Brad Keselowski, Ty Gibbs eighth, Chris Buescher ninth, and Carson Hocevar rounds out the top 10. 1 point per position there, 10 points for first, all the way down to 1 point for 10th at the end of stages 1 and 2. I did get Ryan Blaney out of my lineup before locked at the end of stage 2, so my starting 5 for the Fantasy League today: Tyler Reddick, Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell, Kyle Larson, and Ty Gibbs, all in the top 10 at the end of stage 1. My head-to-head picks had Gibbs over Bubba Wallace. So far, that is not the case. Reddick over Larson, so far not the case. Blaney over Byron, not it. And Elliott at least is beating Chastain by quite a bit. If he makes it to the end of the race, he should be able to beat him. So fantasy team looking good, but the head-to-head matchups could be a little bit better. Not looking the greatest on the point side of things. We'll look at the fantasy league again when we get to the end of the race later on today to see who was the top points getter. So Kyle Larson, Stage 2 winner. No diecast showing for this weekend's live commentary streams at the end of Stage 2. As you can see, I'm not back in my usual office space. So when I get the diecast for the next stream, we will do diecast showings at the end of Stage 1 and Stage 2 like we did the last couple of Cup races between Bristol and Martinsville. Federico Sanchez, thanks for tuning in. I don't think I shouted you out yet. I saw you in the chat at one point earlier, but yeah, pretty much caution free today. Our only two stage yellows have been the stage breaks at lap 80 and lap 165. It's been the Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin show today. Hamlin dominates, leads for 77 out of 80 laps at stage 1. Kyle Larson, 75 laps out of 85 at stage 2. 9 lead changes, but because of the green flag pit stops, that's been the vast majority of those lead changes. On track, Hamlin had gotten by Reddick on lap 1 after Reddick qualified on the pole. Reddick was able to lead the next 2 laps before Hamlin took the lead back, so that we had 3 lead changes in the first 4 laps. Then we didn't have any until green flag pit stops. Hamlin got back in the lead, and then Hamlin won the race off pit road in stage 2. Larson got to the lead on the restart, led. Green flag pit stops had a couple more lead changes. Larson back in the lead and led to the end of the stage. So that's where we get the number 9 from. 75 laps led for Larson here today. He is only 4 more laps led away from 500 laps led on the season. Denny Hamlin had just eclipsed 500 laps led on the year earlier in stage 1. He only needed 56 to get there today, and he's led for 83.
The way that he kind of chops his. It's pretty intriguing. That's cool.
Well, guys, if you come to Kansas, you got to have some good barbecue. If you're going to have good barbecue, it better say this emblem right here on it. A lot of good barbecue, Q39. There's a bunch of them here, but Jack Stack's my favorite. And I figured I'd give my old buddies some Jack Stack. Here you go, Kevin. And if you're going to, the Kansas City connection is definitely burn-ins. Yeah, burn-ins are where it's at. Try you one out.
Go ahead, Mike.
No, they smell good.
I'll do it for you. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, that's them. Okay. That's definitely them. Try one.
All right, we're going to leave Clint holding the bag. Then it's time for pit stops while we grab a little bit of lunch. While we look at what's coming up next week.
Mike's like, we got a show to run. Got to run the show first. Eat after.
Like having the final stage, the longest The longest stage will be first, and the last two stages will be short. And that means, as we get toward the end of that race, fuel saving, we hope Larry Mack will be out the window.
Can't guarantee anything, but that right there, once we clear stage 2, it's wide open to lap 188.
I love the fact that Larry is like hedging his bet because you just never know what these teams are trying to do from a strategy standpoint.
It's not burn in. Am I not a buddy down here too?
Yeah, you're on the burn end down there.
I'll send a runner down there, old buddy. Look at Ryan Blaney's fastest stops this season, and they came right here. A change at the jack position. He was going to get Josh Berry's jack man from last week, but they had to make a last-minute audible call, and yet that team has done very, very well. Regan.
Well, Christopher Bell continuing to have a good run today. Few more complaints as from the ride quality's not as good for him right now as what he wants, and he went 2 free everywhere except entry as that run progressed on. In the 9-car Chase Elliott, just looking for a little more overall grip in the middle of the quarters. Jamie?
Balance pretty good for Kyle Larson. Very quiet that last run. He just wanted to know where all the others were running on track around him. That's Cliff Daniels standing tall on the wall, talking to his driver, counting him down. And meanwhile, 48. 45 rather, Tyler Reddick. He wants to know what that right front looks like. Never had that steering issue after getting into the wall, Mike.
Larson is not going to win the race on pit road. He's going to come out third behind Hamlin and Bell.
Chase Elliott, he was a big loser in that one.
Wow. Not even in the top 10 anymore.
Oh, he blocked in.
Ooh. I think that was the 2-car of Austin Cindric that was kind of blocking him in a bit there on pit road. Denny Hamlin wins the race off of the pit lane, so he's back in the lead as we begin stage 3. Larson in second, losing the 1 spot. Chase Elliott was 4th going into the pits, and he is no longer inside the top 10. He had gained 3 positions on the pit stops at the end of stage 1 to get him to 4th. Drove up to 2nd on the restart, then back to 4th by the end of stage 2. On our monitor, Chase Elliott's now scored in 17th place. Yikes. Can't imagine backing up quickly cost him that many spots. I almost wonder if it was a slow stop culminating with that. And the two together hurt him even more. Looks like our leaderboard might have pre-updated. Okay, so he's 12th place. That makes more sense. He's 12th now instead of 17th. Just had to wait for the leaders to get back to the start-finish line first lap after leaving pit road. So now our leaderboard's updated. Denny Hamlin wins the race off of the pit lane. Christopher Bell will be 2nd on the restart. And Kyle Larson 3rd. Tyler Reddick 4th. Bubba Wallace 5th. 6th place Ty Gibbs. 7th place Chris Buescher. Brad Keselowski 8th. Carson Hocevar 9th. 10th is Chase Briscoe. Riley Herbst having a good day in 11th. And Chase Elliott 12th. After losing 8 positions on pit road. We're going to take another quick break here. Listening live on KRC. Full flag-to-flag coverage continues of the Advent Health 400 at Kansas.
Of my racing, the Spectrum sponsorship is huge for sure. I think it's necessary. This because set up the original Spectrum sponsorship, and I think that's the most part for me to see how excited forward.
Thought they were coming back from commercial there. It was just a Carson Hocevar on a Spectrum Internet commercial rather than a NASCAR broadcast that was going on at the time. First time we've seen Christopher Bell on the front row for a restart today. Highest he's been in the running order. We'll see what he can do with it. Bubba Wallace up inside the top 5 as well, now into 5th after a pretty quick pit stop for the 23 team also.
Something about managing that and just getting great restarts here, Chris.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem like we're seeing a lot of cautions, but you never know in the final few.
Oh, you jinxed us.
Stage two, you never know, right? It's happened. That's how it's gone. No stage two winner has won a race this year. I thought it was a good note. Unless you're the stage two winner. Let's go back to the booth.
95 laps to go. Be the longest runs of the day here. Kyle Larson, last year's winner, came out of the pits fourth. So Denny Hamlin will line up with Christopher Bell, Reddick with Larson in row 2. Take a look at the difference here on pit road as Hamlin came out first.
Yeah, he beat him everywhere. Denny Hamlin beat Kyle Larson on down pit road. Crew beat him in the pit box, and ultimately got him back control of this race. And you see on his outside right there, Christopher Bell, same thing.
In the top 10 for the restart, 6 Toyotas, 2 Chevys, Larson and Hocevar, 2 Fords, Buescher and Keselowski. 5 cars took the wave around. Smith, Chastain, McDowell, Allmendinger, and Ware, none of them back to the lead lap. So we will restart with 20 lead lap cars, including Daniel Suarez, who got the free pass at the end of stage 2. The only cautions we've had, as Chris pointed out, are for the ends of the 2 stages. Best restarter in the business, Christopher Bell. Let's see what he can do against Denny Hamlin as we begin stage 3.
All right, green flag back in the air. JGR Toyotas on the front row. Hamlin and Bell. 94 laps to go at the Kansas Speedways. We're back to racing yet again. Another 7 laps of caution during the stage break, just like we had for stage 1. 3 wide for third place into the first turn. Reddick, Hamlin, and Bubba Wallace. Sorry, Reddick, Larson, and Bubba Wallace. Larson, the sandwich between the two 2311 Toyotas. Hamlin to the point as he cleared Christopher Bell from that inside lane up out of turn 2. Back to the bottom goes Hamlin through 3 and 4. Bell to the middle to upper groove. Will get the crossover attempted. Big run for Bell going through the tri-oval. Hamlin going to blockade the inside, and Bell gets to the outside of Denny entering turn 1. Hamlin led that lap at the line, taking the shortcut through the apron on the front stretch. Bell rips the wall, cuts down from middle exit of the corner, and clear of Hamlin up out of turn 2. First lead of the day for Christopher Bell in the 20 as he looks for his first win of 2026. Denny Hamlin steadily rounds out that middle lane of the racetrack, moves up from the initial bottom lane. Bubba Wallace up to third place with a great race start, getting by both Reddick and Larson. Larson having to hold off now both Carson Hocevar and Chris Buescher for 5th. Chase Elliott, after restarting 12th, losing 8 positions on pit road, stuck behind Ty Gibbs and Riley Herbst. Still in the 12th place position. Gibbs attacks to the inside of Brad Keselowski, will make the pass through turns 3 and 4 for the 9th place position. Christopher Bell, Denny Hamlin still separated by only a couple tenths of a second of one another. Denny Hamlin not going to let Christopher Bell just drive away with this. Larson losing control of the race after winning stage 2, now back into the 5th place position. We'll see if he can rally over the course of a long green flag run if we get yet another one today. This race has been full of pretty much only long green flag runs. No incidental cautions. Kyle Larson took a look to the inside lane through turns 1 and 2 on Bubba Wallace. Does the same thing through 3 and 4. Can't quite get the car to pull up alongside of him by the exit of the corner to then utilize the side draft down the straightaways. And try to hang with him, pass him in the next corner. He's having to do the whole pass at once, and it's not working out for him. Ty Gibbs still battling with Keselowski. They've gone back and forth over the last couple laps, and now Gibbs takes the spot away from the 6 car yet again. And Chase Briscoe in the 19 may be holding up both of them. In 8th place is right there. Gibbs to the outside through 3 and 4, trying to build a run after Briscoe in the 19 in front of him. Seen quite a few times this weekend, especially on the shorter runs when tires have so much grip this early in the run before we start to see a bit of fall off is that these drivers not riding the wall all the way around the racetrack. The fastest line has kind of been run the wall, then kind of get that turn middle off of the wall. Christopher Bell's running that right now. He keeps turning the car down about a lane and a half out of the outside wall. Well, he's got the grips and the tires to do that, just trying to make a shorter route around the corner while still carrying a decent amount of speed up out of the bank into the corner. When he's turning the car down the track that late in the corner, he is already on the gas full throttle as well. So that's why he's trying to shorten everything up. And I noticed quite a few drivers doing that in the O'Reilly race yesterday, and we saw that towards the end, especially between Taylor Gray and Sheldon Creed battling for the win down the stretch. Both ends of the track, Bell's doing that. Denny Hamlin has been doing that in recent laps as well, trying to keep up with Christopher Bell and not necessarily riding the wall all the way around the racetrack like we've seen in years past. 0.6 of a second lead for Christopher Bell over Denny Hamlin. 2.1 seconds to Tyler Reddick in third. Bubba Wallace 4.1 seconds out of the lead in fourth. 4.1 back also Kyle Larson in fifth.
That's been the trend that we saw in the first half of this race. If this race runs green, we know that the best pit crew on pit road sits in that 20 pit stall. They've been consistently the fastest. All the rankings, everything that they have is the best that there is on pit road. So they got it all pointing in the right direction right now for Christopher Bell for this all to line up today.
Denny Hamlin in the picture, just 0.6 of a second back. Now Tyler Reddick sitting in third, 2 seconds off the lead. Passionate about his cars on and off the track, and here's how Toyota supports Reddick's passion.
See racetrack how they activate with cars selling quickly. Some are on the sporty side, some are on the side of work every day, on the side of makes sense for the family. When you think of all the different things that are within motorsports, it's racing, forming races, fast and fun too.
And that's Toyota all out. 83 laps to go. Ty Gibbs not loving his car right now. Listen in.
Well, in a tight race car, that's all you can do is wait on it to turn two. If you could give him an audio of a loose race car, it doesn't sound like it, does it, Kevin? Oh boy, Texas thing is loose. Yeah, and really here at Kansas, a tight race car is hard to deal with because of, especially when you're running high. You got a lot of partial throttle, and you want to get that car to rotate about the 5/8, 3/4 mark of the corner, and then it won't rotate. Then you got to lift back out of the throttle to wait for the car to rotate. So it's a fine line between making your car comfortable to drive with the back in the racetrack and getting the front to turn. Jamie?
It's going to be good right now is Bubba Wallace in fourth. This car has just come to life the last about 50 or so laps. Remember, he was leading on the last lap here in the fall when he got together. Hamlin, he also has a win here. Two of them about this paint scheme. The Boys and Girls Club of America. Boys and Girls Club, never with a child. It's great cheering. Boys and Girls. For the hard. I know it wants to be trying to celebrate with him and all the different time for him in his life. So Bubba holding on, pretty happy with the car, just doesn't want to give what Ty Gibbs out, and that's too tight.
Let's take it up into the top 4. Larson in 5th after a tough pit stop. And Christopher Bell seeing his Denny Hamlin get ever larger in his rearview mirror.
So here's the opportunity. What you look for when you're trying to pass, there it is right there. Cody Ware, the lap car in front of Bell. As he catches him, it's important to catch him in the right place and not slow you down with Denny Hamlin hot on your heels. Well, he definitely caught him in the right spot right there. Denny Hamlin as well. Doesn't give him any problems, so.
Of course, Denny's had a run on the bottom, though. It wouldn't necessarily, when I say catch him in the right spot, that's not the best place. You want to try to catch them as you're getting off the corner, but if you're Denny Hamlin, that's exactly the opportunity you look for to pounce on as that leader Bell is catching them. Forces him out of his line. Maybe you could stay high, get a run on him up off the corner. Those are opportunities with these lappers.
Ross Chastain coming back up on track after an unscheduled pit stop. Here's Riggin.
Like the 19 to Chase Briscoe's been healthy today inside the top 10, but right now, much like his teammate Ty Gibbs, we just talked about, struggling with that 19 car. Don't team, I cannot get it to turn down the hill at all, way too tight in the front end.
Thanks, Regan. Actually, Chastain, that was a scheduled stop. He was one of the 5 cars that took the wave around at stage end and was out of fuel, if not out of tires, by now. That means we will see Zane Smith, AJ Allmendinger, Michael McDowell, and Cody Ware on pit road racing. 191 laps complete, 76 to go on a caution-free day, except for the stage breaks here in Kansas. Christopher Bell leading Denny Hamlin by about a third of a second.
God Rides a Harley, thank you for the $5 super chat. Go, Okie, go. That's what he says in the chat. Hopefully I didn't miss anybody else there. Sorry it took me a minute to see that, but thank you so much. It's greatly appreciated. Be sure to hit the like button, guys, if you haven't done so yet. We're at 77 likes. Let me try to spit that back out again. Let's at least try to get that to 100 by the end of the stream here today. So 77 is where we're at right now. Just past halfway to the original goal of 150. Sure to hit the like button on the stream if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe for more NASCAR content. We're doing live commentary streams like this every NASCAR race weekend for NASCAR Cup, O'Reilly, and Truck Series Racing. Christopher Bell holds the race lead. Denny Hamlin in second. Then you got Tyler Reddick third, Bubba Wallace fourth, Kyle Larson rounding out the top 5 in 5th. We'll take a quick break here. You're listening live on KRC, full flag-to-flag coverage. Everybody's still going to have to make one more pit stop yet between now and the finish of today's race. Been a pretty quick one thus far. Just eclipsed the 2-hour mark just over 30 seconds ago. Already an early start time to today's race, too. So early start time, a fast pace. This thing's going to be done by 5 p.m. Eastern. I was like, as long as it's done by 6 so I can watch all of WrestleMania tonight, that's all I was hoping for. But here we are. I might end more than an hour early. This thing is flying by. I mean, it has been as clean as it could be. And no spins, no debris, no nothing. No cautions for incident. 11 lead changes now with Christopher Bell out in front, Denny Hamlin in second. Top 4, all Toyotas. Then you got a Chevy of Larson in 5th. The highest Ford is Buescher 6th. Austin Cindric, actually the highest running Penske, he's up to 10th after starting 34th today, so he's had to come from very deep in the field. And 2 Chevys, 3 Fords, 5 Toyotas on the manufacturer race in the top 10, while the top 5 is 4 straight Toyotas, 1 through 4, and a Chevy Larson in 5th. Christopher Bell's first lead of the race was right off this restart. Stage 3 is now led for 23 consecutive laps. Hamlin still has the most laps led with 88 today. Larson with 77. Your stage winners, Hamlin and Larson so far. When was the last caution-free race? I know there's been a couple of stage racing era races on road courses that didn't have cautions for incident, and there's also been, I think, 2 Las Vegas races to not have cautions for incident in the next gen era. Not next gen, sorry, but the stage racing era, I know for a fact. Next gen era, I'm trying to think if there has been any. When they had that one season of no stage cautions on the road courses, there was 2 races back to back, Indy Road Course and Watkins Glen. There was 1 caution for incident, so that would have been less than 2 we would have for stage breaks. But like full caution for a year, looking back at 2002 Talladega. But as far as in the modern era of stage racing, as far as no incidental cautions in the Cup Series, we've had a few of them, but off the top of my head, I don't remember exactly the last. Hamlin's staying right there with Bell. I mean, he pits 1 lap before him. That could be the difference in him maybe leapfrogging and holding on, keeping track position if his pit crew has a fast enough stop versus that of the 20. 7/10 of a second out of the lead with 67 to go.
This car is pretty neatly clutched. Proud to have birthday 84 years young.
Nice.
His car.
It's buffering going on right there. My bad, my bad.
Struggle. Road today. They definitely got to clean things up on the pit stops to be able to take advantage of the performance that they have in their race cars. So Carson's done a nice job of keeping that car clean and making those spots up as they lose them.
Arizona Smart just ahead of Ty Gibbs on the monster cam. He would hand him away and not fine. Clear 1.5, not 2. And that's how 7th place changed hands. Not right back at you. That's Gibbs not being able to complete the throttle on the exit of the corner with that car being tight. Got tight and had to live. Drove right back by him. That's super frustrating, Kevin.
Yeah, and Hocevar actually pointed him by to go ahead and finish the pass, but he let off the throttle so much that Carson was easily drove back around him. But you can definitely hear from that in-car camera of Ty Gibbs, him working that throttle, definitely still fighting the front tires.
63 laps to go. We're going to have at least one more pit stop, and we'll talk with Larry about that when we come back.
Another side-by-side commercial break on Fox with the Advent Health 400 at the Kansas Speedway, awaiting the final pit stops of the race, which should be going on here pretty shortly from now. 63 laps to go at this point, and as far as the final fuel run goes, they can make it about 60 laps on a full tank. So within a couple laps, I would expect at least somebody to maybe short pit and try to come onto pit road, make that final stop, and they won't pit again unless we see another caution later on in the race, which could lead, obviously, to the door opening for more pit stops. Christopher Bell, currently race leader by 1.1 seconds over Denny Hamlin, 1.2 seconds to Tyler Reddick in third, who is actually running faster lap times than both the top 2 in front of him right now. Bubba Wallace sits in fourth, Kyle Larson fifth, and Chris Buescher in sixth place. Seventh is currently sitting Ty Gibbs, Carson Hocevar eighth, Brad Keselowski ninth, Austin Cindric rounds out the top 10. So that's the top 10 in the running order at this juncture. We'll be seeing some green flag pit stops again, like I mentioned shortly. We'll take another break while we're awaiting them to come back from their own commercial. KRC Productions presents to you the Advent Health 400 at Kansas. But just over 100 concurrent viewers here for quite some time. Greatly appreciate each and every one of you tuning into today's live commentary stream, as we've been on the air since 1:30 p.m. Eastern with our pre-race show, leading up to the drop of the green flag for today's full 400-mile, 267-lap race. Brad Keselowski working on a pass for 8th on Carson Hocevar through turns 3 and 4. That just happened. Hocevar is looking to get that over-under move up out of the exit of turn 4 to get back to the inside of Brad, but that didn't quite work out for him. He'll try the bottom lane through 1 and 2 again, though, and see if he can get him there instead. Kept decent momentum up off the exit turn 4 from the lap before. Still committed to trying to make that pass. Christopher Bell working through a little bit more of that lap traffic. Currently 20 cars on the lead lap. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in 21st, the first of which a lap down. Tyler Reddick making a pass on second place Denny Hamlin in recent laps as he tries to go for his 5th win in just the 9th race of the season. He has been looking really, really good as we get closer to these green flag pit stops, kind of the final laps, if you will, of the tire life for the current tires on the race cars we began stage 3 with. Hamlin's got some heavy lap traffic right in front of him, double wide. He tries to split the middle between a couple of those cars. Bubba Wallace in the 23 is closing in a bit on Hamlin, though he's further back, about 5.5 seconds out of the lead. His lap times are quicker than Denny. He's just lost quite a bit of time.
Larry, 55 laps to go. When we expect that what may be the final stop of the day. Yeah, Mike, this is a chess match right here. We went back racing with 94 to go. If you split it right down the middle, that's 47 laps run. That's about 7 to 10 laps further than we basically run anybody. I think that's the way you've got to go, but I think about Ty Gibbs, as tight as his car is, will his right front even go 47 laps?
And Denny Hamlin, Kevin and I have been watching him too. He's really fallen off in the last couple of laps. I think he might be holding off.
Yeah, I mean he has definitely lost a few tenths to the front 2 cars, and he was right with them up until 3 or 4 laps ago.
Now Christopher Bell has been under fire from Ross Chastain, who went by, and because Chastain was just on pit road 20 laps ago. Remember, he was on that alternate strategy when he took the wave around at the end of the stage, so he blew right by the race leader. So Christopher Bell is kind of walking the dog right now, trying to get to that pit stop.
Yeah, Reddick's putting some heavy pressure on Bell leading into these stops, and you're wondering if Bell's like, hey, I want to be the first to get to pit road so I can try to put some separation between myself and the 45. Because if 45 of Reddick beats Bell into the pits, he's going to have a really good shot to leapfrog him. And we saw what that did for several drivers all the way back in stage 1, where they were able to leapfrog a couple positions, maintain there through the rest of the run. Because 2 to 3 laps difference on tires, if you're on the better side of it, say 40, 50 lap fresher tires, it's going to be more beneficial for you than if you only have the 2 to 3 lap fresher tires. You're really not going to get any of that time back. Denny Hamlin on pit road. He's the first of the leaders there. Chase Briscoe will follow him in. So now this is interesting. Denny Hamlin in the pits. Christopher Bell and Tyler Reddick both stayed out of the pit lane that last time by. So Hamlin's going to have at least 2 laps worth of fresher tires on his 2 Toyota counterparts that are in front of him in the running order. Denny was just over 2 seconds out of the lead when he pitted. And these fresher tires going to be about 2 seconds a lap faster. It's a good probability Denny Hamlin's going to cycle back into the lead. Reddick and Bell stay out again. 50 laps to go at the line now for Christopher Bell. Alex Bowman, Austin Cindric having service to pit road for their final stops of the day. Ty Gibbs also in from inside the top 10.
Well, I definitely won it last night, that's for sure. But I think right now, I mean, unless they made an adjustment on Denny Hamlin's car at the end of this run or clean air makes it better, he was definitely not as good. But having that track position will at least give you a chance.
Person on pit road.
Larson, Van Gisbergen, and Keselowski coming in. Bowman completed his stop.
Kyle Larson in the pits. Brad Keselowski in from the top 10.
The biggest thing that you don't want if you're Christopher Bell right now, but you do if you're Tyler Reddick, I want to beat him to pit road. I want to try to pit before that 20 car to try to jump him with the fresh tires for one lap.
Well, obviously the 11 running them down. I mean, that's putting the pressure on him. I agree with you about Reddick, but when you see Reddick shooting to the bottom now, bring it. I'm thinking he's coming.
Yep, Reddick is coming in.
And if they have a clean pit stop, he's going to be in front of Christopher Bell when this is over.
Coming on the pit road too, did a good job.
Yeah, but he doesn't. As long as they have a clean pit stop, I mean, just the amount of lap time that he's going to gain on these new tires is going to put him in front of Bell.
Jamie?
They had just told Tyler the night before, we're going to put the 20s to stop.
Stop. So does Chase Elliott. Bring it.
20 and Christopher Bell. These guys have been ready for about the last 10 laps. They were trying to time it out to see things just right as when they hit pit road, as well as not have issues with the 41 car. It's been car.
Well, hit it right on Larry's number. 47 laps. Splits the stage.
8.5-second pit stop, pretty quick for Christopher Bell. Denny Hamlin, who's already at speed and pitted at least 3 to 4 laps before Bell. He was just over 2 seconds back, is going to cycle out to the front once the last car hits pit road. The only driver who has not yet made service in this final stage for a final stop is Daniel Suarez, who has been out in the racetrack for 52 laps. So Daniel Suarez is currently the race leader for the first time today during green flag stops. Denny Hamlin first in the running order of those that pitted, then Reddick, then Bell. Bell just came out of the pits. Hamlin's got about 6 laps older tires than that of Bell, and Reddick about 1 lap older tires versus the 20 car as well. It was a pretty fast stop, an 8.5-second stop for the 20 team. Oh boy, Daniel Suarez had a big moment there into turns 1 and 2. Does he have a right front tire down? He is very slow. I think he's got a right front tire down. The way that car shot up the racetrack in turns 1 and 2, he's trying to limp it back to pit road. We do stay green. There's no debris, and the tire carcass hasn't come apart. But I believe the cording was too much on the right front for Daniel Suarez. He stayed out just a little bit too long. And he's going to lose a lot of time. He was running around 20th. Remember, he came in just inside the chase cut line. 15th in points entering the day was Suarez. This could be a big hit for him. It's likely not going to finish on the lead lap. After getting the free pass at the end of stage 2. Had a good run going in stage 3 up until that. All right, can Denny Hamlin hold off Tyler Reddick and Christopher Bell for his second win of the season? Hamlin won the only other mile-and-a-half track at Las Vegas, now trying to win at the Kansas Speedway also. We'll go through the full field running order here as we cycle through the green flag pit stops. Denny Hamlin leads, Tyler Reddick in second. Christopher Bell drops from the lead to third, and Bell is 5.1 seconds out of the lead. Reddick is 3.3 back. Kyle Larson 6.9 seconds back in the fourth place position, and 7.4 seconds out of the lead is Bubba Wallace in fifth. Sixth is Ty Gibbs, Chase Briscoe up to seventh, Brad Keselowski eighth, Chris Buescher ninth, Austin Cindric rounds out the top 10. Carson Hocevar in 11th, Chase Elliott 12th, Ryan Preece 13th, Alex Bowman 14th, Corey Heim 15th, 16th is Riley Herbst, William Byron 17th, and Austin Dillon last car in the lead lap in 18th. Todd Gilliland 19th, first car, currently a lap down. Daniel Suarez just had that flat tire. He's 20th. I think he's going to be even worse than that here once he leaves pit road. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. scored in 21st at the moment. Zane Smith 22nd. Ross Chastain 23rd. Jonathan Nemechek 24th. Eric Jones 25th. Cole Custer 26th. Ryan Blaney with that right front fender damage is now back to 27th. Josh Berry 28th. AJ Allmendinger 29th. Joey Logano 30th. Ty Dillon 31st. Kyle Busch back to 32nd. 33rd Noah Gragson. Connor Zilic 34th. Michael McDowell 35th. Shane Van Gisbergen 36th. And Cody Ware 37th. All 37 cars that started the race are on the track, but again, only 19 on the lead lap. Hamlin's lead, 2.8 seconds as he's out in front. He ran his fastest lap of the day at lap 175 early in stage 3. He has led the most laps. He won stage 1. Kyle Larson won stage 2, has led the second most laps. 94 for Hamlin, 77 for Larson, 47 for Bell. Reddick has only led for 2, but started on the pole. He is in second. Remember, 3 of the 4 wins for Reddick this season has come when he started on the pole. He has won in the only 4 races he has led a lap in so far this season. Well, if he leads here today, that may very well mean he could go to victory lane. He led 2 laps early on from the pole. We'll see. We'll see. 2 hours, 18 minutes, and 50-something odd seconds into the race. 2 cautions. The only yellows were the stage ends at lap 165 and lap 80. 13 lead changes, 14 laps under caution, 7 for each stage break. And, yeah, very fast race pace here today. This race is going to get over barely over 2.5 hours if we don't have a caution in these final 39 laps. We have not had a caution for incident all day long. You're listening live on KRC. We'll take a quick break. Our full flag-to-flag coverage continues of this race. Lots and lots and lots of racing to go here. Hamlin's still pacing pretty well over Tyler Reddick right now, but he faded quite a bit at the very end of that last run. The good news is because of going as long as he did on tires, he's not going to have to go quite that long again this go-around. He can maybe manage them just a little bit better, but he is going to have to go an extra 5 laps, and with the cording that we've seen on that right front tire, that's really the main thing you have to worry about if you're Denny Hamlin. If he's going to drop lap times, it's going to be very significant, and it's probably not going to be to the final 5 to 10 laps, and it's going to be because of cording on the right front, which we've seen from several drivers today, as you just saw with Daniel Suarez after about 50 laps having that issue. Hamlin, one of the first to pit road from the 3rd place position initially. Going to have to go over 50 laps on these tires to the end. Right now he's running away with it. He's been about 2 to 3 tenths faster than Reddick the last several laps. Christopher Bell, I don't know what happened to him. He was 5 seconds out of the lead in 3rd when he first cycled out of the pits. Now he is 7.5 seconds back. And all of a sudden, Kyle Larson's up to 3rd place. Bubba Wallace to the inside of Bell for 4th. What has happened to Christopher Bell over recent laps? He was looking so good for so long, leading those laps early in Stage 3, and now maybe struggling just a bit. Yeah, Bubba Wallace is going to get by him through 3 and 4. Unless the lab car of Cole Custer lab car coming out of the pits. Wallace had to shoot up the track. Nearly right across the front bumper of the 20. He had his hand out the window like, hey, I was not trying to do that. I was just trying to miss the guy pitting in front of me. I don't know who that was trying to hit pit road. I think it was Ross Chastain, but I'm not entirely sure. It looked like it might have been the Busch Red Apple car, but wow, that was a close call. And I wonder if they show the replay on the Fox broadcast, because that was almost a disaster. I want to see a replay of that again. It was right as they were coming back from commercial. I feel like everybody might have missed it in the booth. Bell hit the wall. Okay, well, that explains why he's losing time. Thanks for that update. That last lap, Bell ran a 31.95. He's got something wrong with that race car after making contact with the wall, because that was about 5 to 6 tenths of a second slower than Hamlin that last lap. And yes, they are showing a replay right now. Turns 3 and 4 within the last few laps. Bell had gotten up against the wall. Bell still has the fastest lap of the race today, 29.925. The Xfinity Fastest Lap Award, if that still holds to the end. Should, if we stay green to the finish at least. And it was Chastain that was trying to come into the pits where Bubba Wallace nearly ran right into him. "31 laps to go. This time by for Denny Hamlin. Tyler Reddick about 2/10 faster than Hamlin that last lap. This is going to get good. Kyle Larson 7.3 back. I don't think without a caution it's going to come down to pretty much just the 11 and the 45. Hamlin looking for career win number 62. That would be one away from Kyle Busch for 9th all-time on the NASCAR wins list. And Tyler Reddick looking for his 5th win in just the 9th race of the 2026 NASCAR Cup Series season. 30 laps to go this time by at Kansas Speedway in the Advent Health 400. Can Hamlin get it done?
This right here is definitely making up some ground, but he's got a long ways to go. He needs to clear this car of Shane Van Gisbergen as quick as he can to get that clean racetrack.
I really think if it goes green, it's just going to come down to tire management and saving those. And Denny Hamlin does that as good as anybody. A lot of experience, wisdom behind the wheel. 21 years he's been doing this. He knows how to save those tires, and that short pit call. I think Chris Gale's got their number. We don't see something. If they don't have trouble, right? It boils down to tire management, like I said.
Well, he's got a gap to play with, and I think that as we get to the end of the run, you're going to probably see him have to manage that because we know how bad that the 11 fell off the last run. But he also has way cleaner racetrack this time, and you see the 11 and the 8.
Yeah, during a stage break, Kyle Busch made 2 extra stops. One was a long, long stop with the head up, making major changes to that Richard Childress Racing number 8. And Busch is now 5 laps down, so here is your first and last place car in this race right now with 28 to go.
You know, and looking at Denny and thinking back on that, I mean, it wasn't like he was a second place car running a leader down. He was a third place car, so that was, you knew when you're that far off, you've got to set yourself aside quite a bit. And, 4, 5, 6 laps was a big call by Chris Gale. Make the difference, so put that car right back up front. Put it in the driver's hands.
Let's consider the top 5 cars. Of them, Hamlin was the first to pit at lap 215. Reddick has 5 laps fresher tires than Hamlin. Bubba Wallace and Christopher Bell, 5 and 6 laps fresher tires. How much a difference will that make when we get down to the last couple of laps?
Well, that's what my point was, Mike, is the fact that he had to do that as a third place car and falling off the pace, right? They had to make sure that they had enough laps if they were going to be able to get the lead that they were after in the first place. Yeah, that little exchange right there with Kyle Busch being hard to pass cost him a half a second on that lap. So those are the kinds of laps that you don't want to have.
And those are the comments you talked about in pre-race, because Kyle Busch was not happy when he was told of Denny Hamlin's comments on Hamlin's podcast this week. It didn't sound as if Kyle had listened to the podcast, but clearly his team has been struggling. And here is what Denny Hamlin said after hearing Kyle Busch's comments.
And that's the thing I love about Denny. I mean, he can separate everything that he does, right? You read this. I'm a podcast host, so I got to answer the questions about relevant topics. Well, he answered them honestly, and he's going to get in a race car and he's going to drive for Joe Gibbs Racing. And guess what? He's banged doors with his own car up here in 3 and 4 to try to win the race and cost his own car a chance of winning. So he's great at separating things and multitasking at a high level.
All right, let's turn the volume down on the podcast and check with Larry on his trends for the rest of this race.
Yeah, Mike, this is no reflection on Denny Hamlin, but I do hope my trend falls into place like it did in Bristol last week. If you look at the 8 races so far at 26, the average of the last caution is 21 laps to go, which would be about 2 laps from now, lap 246. And we've had 2 overtime finishes at Echo Park Speedway in Atlanta and last week at Bristol. Larry, a very smart fellow sitting right to my right, says wishing and hoping is not a strategy. Right?
It's my strategy right now.
Strategy engaged. 15th place, Alex Bowman, Corey Heim. Rare Cup start. I think it'll become less rare as things move on as last year's truck champion. You know, if he was eligible for truck points, he'd be third in the standings once he started running truck races regularly here after the season started.
Well, he kept running those truck races because he kept winning them all. Had a chance to win $500,000 at Bristol. Wound up a little bit short, but Corey Heim is one of the great prospects coming up through the ranks and has definitely done everything that you can do in truck racing. And he's done a great job every time that he's got in this cup car. And today, yeah, he's right there racing inside the top 15, racing for let's see, 14th position.
So the rules, NASCAR's rules require you run all the races to be eligible for the championship. But if you start running races after the season has started and then run them all, well, that kind of meets the spirit of the rule, if not the letter.
See that 35 car of Riley Herbst right there, Corey Heim's teammate. He's actually done a great job today, having a decent run. We saw the same thing last week at Bristol. Bowman getting a lot of laps in on the mile-and-a-half racetrack. I actually thought he was going to keep going to the front, but kind of stalled out as he got close to the top 10.
Bowman drops to the bottom to make a run at Herbst. This is for a 15th position.
Reddick is still closing on Hamlin, 2.5 now.
On this number right here for quite some time. This place, little by little, he's nibbling on that lead. Denny Hamlin. 19 to go. First time. This can't happen. This is far from over.
Oh, it can happen. And I think, it's just a matter of how big the chunks are at the end of this run. When does that 11 car shut off again with that right front tire?
He's taking a half second. I mean, he's just, again, it's kind of slowly but surely running him down lap after lap. And that math works out. He will get there. Well, next week we move from the mile-and-a-half to the fastest speedway on Earth at Talladega, Alabama. And look at NASCAR. They have flipped the script on the stage lengths. Stage one's going to be a grind, 98 laps, but stage 2 and 3 at 45 laps apiece. What do you think, Larry?
I think once we get to stage 3,
you'll see wide open throttle, hammer down and get out of the way.
And that's exactly what they're trying to accomplish. Take that fuel mileage strategy situation out of those super speedways. Great call, and I'm looking forward to calling that race because of that.
Talladega next Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern Time on Fox.
Gonna be a good one, folks.
Denny Hamlin has won the last 2 mile-and-a-half track races on the circuit. Last driver to win 3 straight was Martin Truex back in 2017.
Wow.
I think Reddick's going to get
another couple tenths.
Yeah. He's going to get there, but how close can he get?
He can get there, but when he gets there, can he pass him?
To the point of having to be right on the back bumper of that 11 car. He's got, 5 laps or so. Fresher tires than Denny Hamlin.
Starting to slip up here. It's a big slip there.
And this is when you're going to see it. Every lap that ticks by just becomes harder and harder for Denny Hamlin to keep that car driving correctly as those tires.
Oh, he's wiggling a lot.
That's 51.93 to a 69 behind him. That's a big chunk there.
14 laps to go for Denny Hamlin. He's starting to lose control of the race cars. The tire's a little bit older than that of Tyler Reddick. He pitted about 5 laps before the 45 and about 6 laps before Bell, who had lost the lead because of that. Bell had gotten into the wall in the early going of this final tire stint at the end of the race, dropping him then from 3rd to 5th. He has since gotten back to 4th, passing Bubba Wallace, and he's now just a couple tenths off of 3rd place Kyle Larson. Would need a caution to get back in contention for the win. Without a yellow, it's the 11 and the 45 and nobody else. They have over a 10-second lead to Kyle Larson in 3rd. And the deficit right now for Reddick is about 0.6 of a second behind Denny Hamlin. Reddick running the wall through turns 1 and 2 on the entry to the corner. Gets that cut middle off. Denny Hamlin starting middle, just kind of washing back to the wide side. Hamlin looks like he's been fighting a pretty loose race car the last couple of laps. Might have burnt the tires off of it a little bit too early in the run. 12 to go this time by. Tyler Reddick looking for his 5th win in the 9th race of the NASCAR Cup Series season in 2026. What a year it has been. Points as they run right now, it's a 63-point difference between Reddick and Hamlin, but that would swing quite a bit with a Reddick win and a Hamlin finishing in 2nd. Ryan Blaney, who came into the day minus 62, no stage points for him, and he's outside the top 20 with damage to the right front fender after contact on pit road in stage 1 with A.J. Allmendinger during green flag stops. 11 laps to go. Reddick wants everything he can to get this regular season championship, and every win along the way makes it that much easier for him. He was quite a ways back on entry into turns 1 and 2, that time, but he did close the gap quite a bit on Denny Hamlin, and he's about a half a car length behind the 11, coming up on 10 laps to go this time by. I don't know if Hamlin's really got anything for Tyler Reddick, but you know he's going to do everything he can to try to hold him back. Reddick to the inside of Hamlin off the exit of turn 4, side by side for the lead. A little bit of a side draft by Reddick to the left rear corner panel of the 11. Hamlin on the high side. Reddick down low on the bottom. Slide job incoming by Tyler Reddick. He's clear in the middle of the corner. Hamlin cannot get the cut center off to get the crossover engaged, and Tyler Reddick leads with just 10 to go at Kansas Speedway. Unbelievable if he pulls this off again, and it's another race where, yes, he led, but he didn't lead a lot of laps. He was 3rd at the end of stage 1, 3rd at the end of stage 2. He's been there all day long after starting on the pole, but it was the 11 and the 5 that dominated the laps led category. There is a chance that that right front tire clips for the 45 like it might have done for the 11 already. It just might take a few extra laps. Hamlin's going to have to do what he can to keep the 45 close for when that happens, and it becomes a 50-50 race again between the two. Assuming that could potentially happen to Tyler Reddick. Because although Reddick was able to clear Denny Hamlin for the lead, I don't think this race is over yet. He's out in front, 8 laps to go, but he has not gapped Denny at all. Hamlin shoots to the inside of the racetrack, driving in deep on corner entry. Doing everything he can, had a full nose with clean air. Closed the gap just a bit on the 45. Loses some down the back straightaway because Reddick had that higher line. Now Denny goes up to the wall through 3 and 4. Tyler Reddick to the middle groove in that end of the racetrack, and Hamlin should have a decent run on the front stretch. He's closing the gap into turn 1. Hamlin wiggled a little bit, though, up the hill on entry into turns 1 and 2. Lap car Austin Dillon in front of the 45 of Reddick. Reddick had to deal with dirty air, and Hamlin's coming right back. Hamlin will look to the inside into turns 3 and 4. He's got to run. After losing the lead to Reddick about 3 laps ago, they're side by side again, but Reddick wins the throttle race back off the exit of turn 4, clears Hamlin a second time, 6 laps to go, and pulls him by several car lengths at the end of the front stretch. And Hamlin's going to have to do a lot of work to try to get that time back. That is unbelievable. I mean, you saw how quickly Reddick came from a 3-second deficit to run Hamlin down past him. Get to a few car lengths ahead, and you thought it might have been race over, but it is not yet. Hamlin again through 3 and 4, closes in so much on that bottom lane. Now he's going to try to stay in the draft, center of the tri-oval. Reddick is really struggling to try to get by the 3 car of Austin Dillon, the lapper, right in front of the leaders. Reddick loose on the outside of the racetrack, and as he tries to gather the race car, he cuts down across Hamlin's nose to block him, and narrowly was able to do so without contact and holds on for at least another corner. Hamlin lifted as the 45 went down the track, probably because the car got tight with the dirty air in front of him. Hamlin loose off turn 4, so close to that wall on corner exit, 4 laps left as he is driving the wheels off of this thing, trying to keep up with the 45. 2 more lap cars that the leaders are going to have to deal with in the next lap or 2. Reddick has to move off the wall because of the 10 car, I believe, of Ty Dillon in his way. Dillon staying around the top. Reddick going to have to go to the bottom. Denny Hamlin will go to the wall. Hamlin in the dirty air behind the 10. Now he cuts, middle off. Big run for Denny Hamlin, exit of turn 4. That was a great corner by the 11. He got through the lap car much better than Tyler Reddick. 2 car lengths is the difference into turns 1 and 2. Hamlin pulls to the middle. Reddick up near the top. Slides the rear tires, almost got against the wall was Tyler Reddick. Gets a huge run off the exit of the corner. The closer he can get to the wall without anything happening as far as contact goes, the best for him. That's going to keep the side force on the race car. Oh no, Reddick's in the wall now. He got way too close. He cuts down the track. Denny Hamlin's clear. Off turn 4, 2 laps to go. Reddick made a mistake. He jumped the cushion, and Denny Hamlin takes the lead. Is there a chance for Tyler Reddick to get it back, or is it game over? He got the lead, and he has thrown it away with a couple laps remaining. Now into turns 3 and 4. Tyler Reddick charging hard on Denny Hamlin. Oh, we got trouble in front of the leaders now. The 38 car's around, and the caution flag is out. Right before we get to the white flag, the yellow has come out, and this is going to push us into overtime. There's some heavy smoke in front of the leaders, and I was wondering what was that? And I believe it was Zane Smith who went for a spin. Our first caution of the day comes as the leaders are about to get to the white flag. Hamlin in the lead, Reddick in second. Reddick not out of it yet because of the yellow flag. And now we're going to have to decide who's going to pit and who's going to stay out. This is exactly like the fall race last year where Chase Elliott won. Elliott took 4 tires in that race for that final restart. I believe the top 4 stayed out. I almost think you have to pit, honestly.
And let's listen in to Tyler Reddick's radio. What happened? What happened there? Ran out of fuel at your pump too. I had plenty of fuel.
Yeah, and when he ran out of fuel right there, he also ran into the wall. So a lot of things happening getting into turn 3 that he had to deal with. Hit the fence, turn a switch on.
Crew Chief Billy Scott there talking to his driver. Larry, explain this pump 2 situation. Yeah, the fuel cell has 2 lift pumps in it, and they know when they run out of fuel, they can throw the switch, and it goes to a reservoir. They know exactly how many laps they can go off that reservoir. Obviously, it must have been enough if he threw the switch. Pit road's open, green light. We're going to see it right here. Stay with us next on Fox. Indy cars from the Grand Prix of Long Beach coming at you after the Cup race is over. All right, here they come, counting. The 2 leaders are in. Larson is in.
Big advantage.
Bell from 4th. Regan.
The code words for Christopher Bell in 4th place were Asparagus or Captain Crunch. No conversation about the car. It is 2 tires for him. And Brad Keselowski, they were always going to make sure they came to pit road. 2 tires for him.
Yeah, is it going to be 2 or 4? 4 tires won the race last season.
Tyler Reddick, his call was just follow and stay close to the 45. You saw the 45 came in for fuel there, guys, and he jumps 45 out just behind the 11.
Now to Clint's point, no problem with the first 2 getting out first because a bunch of lapped cars separated them in the caution line from the 3rd place cars and beyond. We'll recap who stopped and who stayed out after this.
All right, so that 10-second advantage that both Hamlin and Reddick had over Kyle Larson, Bubba Wallace back there around 3rd and 4th is obviously gone. And Denny Hamlin in the 11 Tyler Reddick in the 45 more than likely will be the two cars on the front row for the next restart. Each of the top 10 coming out of the pits took two tires, right sides only, far less that took two tires in last year's fall race when Chase Elliott was able to win, taking four on the final restart. So I don't think four tires is going to be enough to win unless we get multiple overtimes at the finish here. It's just so crazy that these two had this race won, and now a caution coming to the white right as the leaders were exiting turn 4. Yellow flag comes out for a spinning Zane Smith, and it has brought new life into this race. We have several drivers up at the front of the field in these front couple of rows that have not won yet. In 2026, that is, specifically, like Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, Bubba Wallace, and Brad Keselowski. Well, chat, what do we think here? It's kind of hard to pinpoint who's going to win. I mean, my pick in the pre-race is Denny Hamlin, so for predictional sake, I'm hoping my prediction's right. But outside of that, when you get to a late race restart in overtime, you obviously are going to favor the drivers on the front row. It's very difficult for somebody outside of the front two rows to win, but it's not impossible, especially if contact is made. Really, if you're outside of the front two rows, you're really hoping they're at least 3 wide for the lead out of turn 2 or going into 3, and they kind of crunch together. You're going to need some misfortune from somebody else to become a fortunate bystander in that. 266 laps of this race. No caution for incident. Lap 266 of 267, we get our first caution. And it forces overtime. Just our third overtime finish of the season. Second in a row. Last week at Bristol finished under OT, and we had a near photo finish between Ty Gibbs and Ryan Blaney. We've seen photo finishes at Kansas before on a couple of occasions. The closest finish in NASCAR history on an overtime finish at Kansas 2 springs ago. Kyle Larson won that race, and here he is restarting in third of this one. Field getting the one to go signal. Nope, not quite. Still under caution. Bubba Wallace had a race stolen from him by Denny Hamlin last fall. Maybe Bubba wins this.
This thing is wide open right now because these restarts, when we get into these situations, just become wild, Clint.
A lot of cars taking the wave around here, so that will give the lead lap cars a clear path behind the pace car. The first 10 with 2 tires, and for Briscoe on Eck with 4 tires.
With the gap that the 11 and the 45 had on the field, it'd be hard to see that from the box, but from up here, bird's eye view, they had enough gap possibly to put 4 tires on those 2 cars and still have that lead. That was an opportunity that just wasn't able to present itself because of the vision and everything else. It would have been a gamble, but I think they may have had time. Well, we've seen Denny Hamlin struggle on a couple restarts today compared to Larson and Reddick and some of these cars around him. So he's going to have to get a great restart because he's got a few of the best in the business right behind him with Reddick, Larson, Bell that are always pretty aggressive on these restarts to make something happen.
It's game on. So those 2 Toyotas will take the front row, just opposite positions from where they started the day. In row 2, Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell, who is plus 10 on restarts today.
I think this jump comes down to your help behind. I like Reddick having Bell, another Toyota behind him. Larson, he's going to be trigger happy to get to the bottom of Hamlin. That's his only shot to win this race. Try to get him 3 wide as fast. 1 and 2, that outside lane is going to prevail down the back straightaway. You just can't give up your right rear if you're in that second lane, and you don't want Denny Hamlin to get put 3 wide.
All right, keep looking back. Wallace.
All right, another life for Tyler Reddick to try to get that 5th win of the season after having the lead late, taking it from Hamlin with 10 to go, losing it with 3 to go. Hamlin in the lead still, though. He is the control car for the restart. He'll be inside of row 1. Reddick on the outside. Larson inside of row 2. Bell outside of row 2. Row 3, you're going to have Chris Buescher. Or, sorry, not Chris Buescher. His teammate. It would be Brad Keselowski on the bottom. And then Bubba Wallace up high. Row 4, Chase Elliott on the inside. Ty Gibbs up high. Race is wide open. 2 laps to go. Overtime at Kansas. Green flag back in the air. Great launch for Denny Hamlin and Tyler Reddick on the front row. Larson dragging back, goes to the apron. 3 wide to the inside for the lead. Hamlin kind of got shuffled out of things there for a quick second. Larson's clear. Hamlin and Reddick make slight contact, and then Bell into the wall after contact with the 45 all the way down the track into the 11, and the 5 is running away with it. Kyle Larson leads by a large length into turns 3 and 4 after the 3 Toyotas collide off of turn 2. Reddick in second place trying to run down the 5. 1 lap to go for Larson. Reddick had a huge run off of turn 4. It might not be over yet. The 45 got to get to the inside of Larson from so far back. Hamlin rides up against the wall battling for Briscoe for 3rd. The 5 and the 45 touch down the back straightaway as they battle for the lead one last time through 3 and 4. Reddick on the bottom, Larson up high, Reddick clear out of turn 4. Larson's not going to be able to get him back. Tyler Reddick steals it on the final lap after it looked like Larson had it in the bag. 5 wins in 2026 for Tyler Reddick. Larson had such a huge advantage after the first lap of overtime. How in the heck did Tyler Reddick catch him? It kind of reminded me of Homestead a couple years ago when Reddick won to get into the Championship 4 back in 2024. When he was in 3rd on the final lap, got by Hamlin in 1 and 2, passed Blaney in 3 and 4, and made it look so easy. And he did that again to Kyle Larson, the defending series champion, over the entire final lap at Kansas. What a season this guy is having. Wow. Unbelievable. Interesting. I know. Where did that come from? How did Larson not win on that final lap? Winless streak continues for Larson. Not for Reddick. He's done nothing but winning. Five wins in 9 races. I mean, video game numbers Tyler Reddick is putting up this season. This is a video game. Wow.
Team ran across the grass to congratulate their driver. Time, I don't even know where to start with this. A couple laps to go, you stumble, then the caution comes out. You have to pit, and then you go up against Denny Hamlin and everybody else. How did you prevail there?
Yeah, just really blessed with the late caution. How about that? Was that nuts or what? Woo! I couldn't believe it. I mean, first off, I feel like I have to say, obviously, just for how I feel, and I never like being on the other side of it. Really hate that for Christopher Bell. It's good hard racing. 11 came up, and I took off tight. So not thrilled. I got Christopher there. I hate that for him because he's having a good solid day. So man, it's just these late race restarts. It gets really crazy there, and obviously I had to run on the 5, and I was just shocked I was able to get to his inside there. So just an incredible supply house Toyota Camry all day long. So yeah, it was really thankful we got that late caution.
I know you said yesterday the focus has been getting back here to victory lane at Kansas, where you guys used to be. How much time and effort does this team put in to get back to this moment?
Yeah, a lot. We were really solid here last fall, and the car was a lot like that again here this weekend. So we didn't lead a lot of laps, unfortunately. I let Denny get away there in stage 1, and we were just behind running them in most of the time there. But yeah, to be able to make the right call there, great call by Billy to put 2 tires on, and we didn't have the cleanest restart. I tried to cover the 20, he got outside, and yeah, we were 3 wide and just all ran out of room.
How about MJ, the boss man? He shows up. You guys dominate practice, get the pole. What is it about his presence? You guys just seem to step up.
Got to deliver for boss man. If he's gonna come hang out with us, we got to get him doves. That's what it's all about.
All about the wins. There's MJ. 5th time this season. How about this moment? We watched some emotions. What was that like watching those closing laps?
Well, I mean, look, I'm racing against Denny. So in essence, I really wanted to beat him because I know we're going to talk a lot of trash a little bit. Started to run out of fuel. I didn't know what was happening, but 2311, all the guys drove well today. I mean, we finished, I think, all 4 cars in the top 15. So, I mean, that says a lot about the program. And this kid is on fire. I don't even know what to say. I don't know if I can cool him down. He's unbelievable the last couple laps, and I'm proud of him. I'm proud of the whole team.
Michael, how much fun is this for you? The wave that you guys are on this season.
When you win, it's always fun. And right now it's fun for everybody at 2311. So I mean, me being here and being able to see all the wins, I am so happy for the team, and I just think we need to continually build on this without a doubt.
Congratulations, MJ. Tyler Reddick, he gets the winning flag, and it's the 5th win on the season.
Boy, if there's anybody who's used to winning, it's Michael Jordan.
And no kidding. I mean, this is unheard of. Not only is video game numbers, but it feels like it's just history made every single week with this team. Unbelievable. Well, let's go through the rest of the finishing order here. Margin of victory about 1/10 of a second for Tyler Reddick over Kyle Larson in 2nd. Chase Briscoe finishes 3rd. Denny Hamlin 4th. Bubba Wallace 5th. Brad Keselowski 6th. 7th for William Byron. Chase Elliott 8th. Ty Gibbs 9th. And Chris Buescher rounds out the top 10. Ryan Preece at 11th. Austin Cindric 12th. Carson Hocevar 13th. Riley Herbst 14th. And Corey Heim 15th. 16th for Austin Dillon. Todd Gilliland 17th. 18th for Alex Bowman. Daniel Suarez 19th. And Christopher Bell in 20th. 21st, first car lap down, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Jonathan Nemechek 22nd, Eric Jones 23rd, Ryan Blaney 24th, and Cole Custer 25th. Ross Chastain 26th, Josh Berry 27th, Noah Gragson 28th, Connor Zilic 29th, and Joey Logano 30th. 31st for AJ Allmendinger, Zane Smith 32nd, Ty Dillon 33rd, Michael McDowell 34th, 35th, Kyle Busch 36th, Shane Van Gisbergen, and Cody Ware 37th. That rounds out the full field finishing order for today's race. 17 lead changes. We finished under overtime, just past the regulation length of the originally scheduled 400 miles, 267 laps around the mile-and-a-half racetrack here at Kansas Speedway. 2 hours, 48 minutes, and 37 seconds. Even with overtime, fast race because we only have 1 caution for incident, and that was with 2 to go coming to the checker, or the white, I should say, initially. So 3 cautions, 1 for incident, 2 stage breaks. All right, fantasy team. We'll take a look at that real quick before we get out of here. You can join the NASCAR Fantasy League on the NASCAR.com website and or NASCAR mobile app. Looking at the roster I had for this week, Tyler Reddick, Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell, Kyle Larson, Ty Gibbs, all on the team. And all pretty solid days. Bell finished 20th because of a spin after having contact with the wall. I believe he probably had a toe link down, if I had to guess, and lost control in the final lap. They did stay green under all that. Head-to-head battle, I did have Reddick over Larson. He did beat him by a spot. Gibbs did not beat Bubba Wallace. Elliott did beat Chastain. Blaney did not beat Byron. So head-to-head there, 20 points total. Rest of the team pretty solid. Enough about me. This week's winner at Kansas Speedway in the Fantasy League, EC23 with 286 points. Second, Sauce Mafia and Austin Dillon fan at 284 in a three-way tie for second between him, Evan 48-48, and then Jarrett 2-3-4-4-5-5-6-6-6. Freaky Fast 4 rounds out the top five in a tie for fifth between himself and our current points leader, Track Squirrel, at 275, finished in 11th with 265 this week. So pretty tight amongst the top of the leaderboard. Kansas Speedway in the KRC League. Start times for next weekend on the channel will be live at Talladega Super Speedway for 4 live commentary streams, 3 of which on Saturday, and then we have one Sunday afternoon, the big one, the Cup Race. Cup Race will be next Sunday at 1:30. That was today's start time. Next Sunday, NASCAR Cup Series, we will be live at 2:30 p.m. Eastern for a 500-mile race at Talladega. So again, 2:30 p.m. Eastern live Talladega next Sunday on the channel. And then the triple header on Saturday will be live at 10 a.m. Saturday morning Eastern time for NASCAR Cup qualifying at Talladega. No practice across the O'Reilly and Cup Series next week, just qualifying. So qualifying at 10 a.m. Eastern. ARCA race will be at 12:30 p.m. Eastern early in the afternoon. O'Reilly race at 4 p.m. Eastern. You can check the community tab later in the week. I'll post those start times up, but verbally wanted to mention that before we get out of here for the weekend. Congratulations to Tyler Reddick. 5 wins in the first 9 races of the season. Unbelievable. If you haven't hit the like button yet, be sure to do so. Hit that thumbs up. We're at 96 likes right now. We're just 4 shy of 100, so be sure to do that so we can get that goal. Subscribe for more NASCAR content. We are live for NASCAR live commentary streams every weekend for Cup, O'Reilly, truck racing. Truck's off for a couple of weeks, so that's why there's no truck race this week. Not going to have one next week either. They'll be at Texas the week after. Thank you so much, everybody. Congrats, 2311. Tyler Reddick yet again. And see you guys back better than ever again Saturday morning for our triple header. Talladega next week. Going to be a lot of fun. Had a lot of fun this weekend. Some good racing. See you guys next time.